38 cars in front of a hardy Georgia crowd as they come to green and begin the 400 miles.
This thing sticks.
Yeah, and you heard Tyler Reddick say that. I mean, they just have an extreme confidence and comfort in these cars to know that they can drive down in there in the corner. And if it doesn't stick, it's going to catch them off guard because they are comfortable enough to be able to have that ability to do that every time that a situation like this pops up.
Logano leads lap 1, still 2 by 2 through the top 20. There was a bit of 3 wide in the back. Now it starts to cycle out.
And there you see Reddick moving up to the outside. I expected that. You're going to see all of them try to get up there.
And we've seen that throughout the weekend. You've seen the group migrate from that middle to top lane just because, it's hard to make speed on the bottom of the racetrack. It's hard to get the cars lined up because not very many of the cars handle well. Condition here is usually tight on the entry to the corner to be able to get the car to turn, as you see the flames out of that 97 car of Shane Van Gisbergen right there.
A lot of movement from the back. Alex Bowman up 7 spots. Van Gisbergen and Byron 3 apiece. Remember, drivers that had trouble at Daytona had to start very deep in this field.
And as these cars in the back try to get towards these front cars, you see Tyler Reddick take that run, and you're going to see that all day right here. When you get a run, you take them here. In Daytona, sometimes you just hit the guy in front of you, but the runs are a little bit faster, and if you can make that run, clear him, you want that clean air as much as you can get it. But to finish my thought on those guys in the back that are trying to make their way to the front, you want to get there as fast as you can, because if something breaks loose early in this race, you're just in that danger zone of getting caught up in it.
But you saw Hocevar on the bottom right there. He was one of the cars that started in the back that we're talking about. Already making some haze up. Well, it's changing by the lap, but he was up 7 or 8 spots already.
Well, that's your pick to win this race, Clinton. I think when you watched him in that truck race yesterday, you saw the discipline for him to help his teammate Kyle Busch win that race yesterday, but he put on a show, and I think for those 7 guys that have run in the other 2 divisions so far, I think they have a little bit of a comfort level. We heard Kyle Busch talk about not really taking anything from the truck race, but he was still on the racetrack, and from my standpoint as a driver, I always thought that helped. And for Kyle Busch, it definitely helps because his stats go way up. He's won 18 races when he's been in something on Saturday.
I'll tell you another guy out there really hungry is that 6 car right there. Keep an eye on him. It'd be a big win for old Brad. Here he comes. These Fords have been fast here. They've led a lot of laps, except the one that counts.
Kozlowski started 5th, challenging 3rd. Here's Blaney, who has picked up 6 spots since the start.
Yeah, and as we look on this Ford Racing camera right here, you're going to hear Ryan Blaney as he goes into this corner lift. And you hear him lift. That entry is really flat right there. There's a bump in the wrong spot, but the hardest thing to do right there is get the front end to turn, and that's been a big problem from a lot of these Fords when they get buried in the pack, is to be able to get those front tires to grip enough to be able to make the corner. So, you know, it's definitely balanced, and that's going to be everybody in the field except for the leader and maybe the 2nd place car. You've got to have that spacing correct to get the air on the front of the car to make it handle.
Wow, look at that power move on the outside. Kyle Busch. Just shows you those 2 cars get stalled out on the bottom, and that thing was, man, it looked like he was running 30 mile an hour faster on the outside.
That top groove here coming off turn 2 can really give a driver, or 2 drivers in that case, a big run down that back straightaway.
And especially if those guys in the bottom lane have to check up, or in the middle lane have to check up, you take that big radius around the top of the racetrack to be able to try to keep the throttle on the floor as much as you can.
A lot of management. We talked about in the pre-race, Kevin, spotter, communication. Where are these runs coming from? Where's the line with the most momentum? Where's my teammates? Where's the block? Are they, the accordion effect when somebody does block, it stacks that line up. You can't see that car in front, in front
Bubba Wallace's Xfinity onboard camera right here. Getting in the middle of the pack like that, you know, it's just, you got to really, really manage the runs and make sure that the guy behind you see him tucking that left front fender right there, trying to get some air on the fender. Got to be really careful if you get that car spaced out to the right that it doesn't plant that right front fender. We've seen a lot of guys spin out when it doesn't get, when it hits that right front fender and gets air on it.
Logano, Keselowski, Berry on the inside, and Fords. Here's some track facts sponsored by Ford Racing at the newly reconfigured Atlanta. Joey Logano won in the fall of 2024. Ford has won 11 of the last 16 stages here and led over 1,000 laps. Joey Logano has led 8 of 11 laps so far in Atlanta. The fastest racing on earth returns to Boggs. Alex Palou, Joseph Newgarden, and Pato O'Ward lead the way as the IndyCar season launches in St. Petersburg with the Firestone Grand Prix next Sunday, noon Eastern, live on Fox. 17 laps complete. In Atlanta, Joey Logano's Ford leading Tyler Reddick's Toyota. Ricky Stenhouse, the first Chevrolet, now in fourth.
Watching this run, watch Blaney go to the inside. That's how they happen. Just almost ended their day and a bunch of other ones.
Yeah, and that's just that big run and taking advantage of that when those cars get side by side and you have that momentum, you just want to carry on with it.
It was a little bit of a lazy block on Hocevar too. I think Gibbs just barely kissed the outside wall there. Doesn't seem like it's hard enough to bend a toe link or anything.
And super easy to get tied off a turn two. No matter what lane you're in, it'll take off on you. And today with the wind, right? Like you never know when you're going to get in a weird position like that.
There's some more trouble right here with Larson on the outside. He got checked up for some reason and kind of saw everybody scramble to the middle.
Larry Mack?
Yeah, Mike, I've been watching Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the 47 car, and we're basically 20 laps into this run. And normally the handling characteristics at this track, if it's not driving good, the car doesn't turn, the car's tight. You don't really fight looseness. And what I'm seeing with him, he's having to turn the steering wheel a lot more than Joey Logano and Tyler Reddick. It also reflects him having to play with the throttle, and he's actually using a little bit of brake getting into both ends of the racetrack.
Sometimes when you use that brake pedal, you'll just kind of tap the brake to set the nose.
Slows those front tires a little bit.
Reddick the leader, Logano second, Keselowski third. Jamie.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski on the move, battling for second. You know, we talked in the pre-show about the importance of spotters, and I talked to Brad's spotter, TJ Majors, this morning. He said, this place is very unique. It is the hardest place we spot at. He said, Brad wants me to talk nonstop. He wants me to give him more information than I'm capable of giving him. He said the only time they don't talk is the actual pit stop. He said, you are emotionally and mentally drained after 3 straight hours of spotting at this track.
You are. And that's what I wanted. I wanted that spotter to talk, and I'll decipher what I want to hear or not.
Outside 22, 21's got the 47. Joey won't get much help here. No pushes here, just 2 by 2. Still there, even. Lined up. Still there, 47.
On board with Brad here in the BuildSubmarines.com onboard camera, and you can just see him. You know, his hands are really steady right there. And when you're in the position that Brad's in right now, it's way easier. And not that there's anything easy about it, but you're still hearing him lift to be able to get that car to the bottom of the racetrack, because it just never feels like it's underneath you. So those are just little adjustments that Brad's making with the wheel, but less chaotic than it will be anywhere behind him in leading one of those rows right now.
Keselowski took the lead momentarily. He has 5 runner-up finishes, including here last June, since his last victory in the Cup Series. 24 of 260 laps complete. Welcome back to the Autotrader 400 on Fox, where Reddick, Keselowski, and George's favorite son, Chase Elliott, have been running 3 wide and trading the lead back and forth. Keselowski on point for now. And take a look at the 77. What happened here?
Well, we've seen him be super aggressive, but it looks like he either got tight right there or he thinks he's got a tire going down, because after this, he went all the way to the back of the pack. So
10th.
Either he had something going down with a tire right there, or just got in a bad spot and pushed up into the fence.
Regan?
Mike, just to add what you guys are talking about with the 77 of Carson Hocevar, he thinks he's got a flat right front tire. Came on the radio. Unfortunately, he missed pit road that first time around, as you see him on the apron trying to limp his way around right now.
Yeah, and it is just such a long way.
There it is. It's
yeah,
down,
you see that
sure.
right front down and the scuff marks from the wall right there, but it's such a long way around. I mean, you're going to be 2 or 3 laps down by the time you get this tire changed.
And he hit up pretty hard that second time. Now you're worried about a toe link and other things. This is hopefully not detrimental for him. That was my pick, Kevin.
Well, I'm sure that Larson, I picked Larson to win this race in the pre-race show, and you said you were off of Larson, so maybe you're the jinx, bud.
Got the right.
Hocevar back out. He's going to lose 2 laps. A lot of drivers have to start in the back because of Daytona 500 ills. Austin Cindric up 23 spots. Alex Bowman 18. Connor Zilic 17. Chase Briscoe 14. And Ryan Blaney 13 spots gained since the start of this race. We've been green for all 33 laps.
You can't keep a good man down, and Austin Cindric is very good at this super speedway race and has been strong here. Was a big player in.
Brad having some trouble right there up the racetrack.
Car took off on him. I think you're starting to see handling woes starting to happen now, Kevin.
And really, like I've been talking, you know, that tight condition, if you get too far into the corner, then it pushes that tight to the middle of the corner, but you can also get into a really bad spot where that thing just won't stop until you slow way down.
So here's Josh Berry in the mix, battling for the lead with Logano's 22 and the 45 of Reddick.
And we've heard a lot of talk before this race about what the Fords were going to do. We heard a lot of chatter about the Fords trying to transition a little more to handling and take some of that speed that they had in their car in the past races, because in the past when they would get shuffled to the middle of the pack, their handling would get so bad they couldn't work their way back up. So they had a little bit of speed to give, in my opinion, on these styles of racetrack, and you're seeing them control the race right now. Regan?
Well, and Kevin, that's exactly what I talked to Paul Wolf about this morning, was what they would do with the car if they needed to make any significant changes compared to the last time here. And he highlighted that drivability. He said, we want to be able to let Joey make the moves and maneuver the way he wants to. And as you see, he's able to do that so far today. Not a word on the radio about the handling of the car. Josh?
Well, for Kyle Larson, the numbers don't tell the full story. If you're looking at just 1 top 10 and 8 starts on the new Atlanta, 5 DNFs for that 5 car. But I talked to Cliff Daniels this morning, and he said what you don't see with that is how competitive we have been in these races here at Atlanta. You come down to the end of these races, we've been in it. We've just been caught up in someone else's mess who's been running right in front of us where we've had chances to win. 3rd place finish here last spring. He said, yes, we have to evolve with the track, with the setup, but this team has been competitive, and we need to keep doing that. We're seeing that today. He's up from 16th now to 11th.
Thanks, Josh. Let's check with Larry on today's fuel strategy, sponsored by Poet Zero Carbon Bioethanol.
Yeah, Mike, if you've not run a lot of laps and the caution comes out, absolutely, fuel only is a good option, especially, I think, in that final stage. I go back to last year's race, Christopher Bell, crew chief Adam Stevens, their final trip to pit road at lap 189, 71 laps to go, fuel only.
Joey Logano leading from Josh Berry. Berry led 56 laps here last year. Due to an accident with 10 to go, wound up 25th. 43 laps complete at Atlanta. At every Speedway Motorsports track this season, EchoPark is bringing fans closer to the action with interactive experiences, exclusive merch, and appearances with Michael Waltrip and Kyle Petty. EchoPark elevates the race weekend. Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Josh Berry, and Carson Hocevar, who lost. He's now just barely 2 laps down, but with fresh tires, might he get one of those back?
And this is a good scenario not only for him, but for Chase Elliott and even Reddick behind them. This car's got tires, so it's going to handle better. You got handling woes starting to happen 46 laps in on everybody else that's out there, but not him. He's got brand new tires, so that car's going to handle. He'll be able to hold the throttle down.
Yeah, that's a great point, Clint. With the tires, we talk about wanting to have 2 tires and no tires and strategy at the end, but having fresh tires is definitely a good benefit. That's Chase Elliott is taking full advantage of that.
Well, look, I mean, that's what broke up that Penske brigade on that bottom.
Dragging the whole top line forward.
So should a caution come out with Hocevar 1 lap down, he's the only car a lap down, and he'd get back on the lead lap with the free pass. As long as he can stay out in front of the leader, who is currently Chase Elliott.
And talking about Hocevar right there as we go on Joey Logano's Hunt Brothers Pizza onboard camera right here. You talk about Hocevar and having the problems early in the race, but man, he's had a great start to the season, whether it's been the qualifying races or Bowman Gray, this race right here. He's run great, and I think that puts a lot of pressure on his teammates, Michael McDowell and Daniel Suarez, because he's kind of mogged everybody as far as the performance that he's had throughout the season so far.
And this weekend, he has 208 more laps than most of the drivers in this field because he ran the truck race and finished second here yesterday.
That's why I picked him, Mike.
But if you have a young driver like that, you want to race in everything. Even if they don't drive anything like a Cup car, just put them in whatever you can afford to put them in and the opportunities that they have. And Hocevar has taken full advantage of that, whether it's a truck, Xfinity car, or late model. He'll race it.
Closing in on 50 laps complete on a beautiful sunny but windy day in Atlanta. Chase Elliott out front. You won't want to miss this one, the World Baseball Classic. Ohtani, Harper, Soto, Judge, an incredible lineup of superstars, putting it on the line for their countries March 4 through 17 on Fox and FS1. Here in Atlanta, 54 laps complete. Chase Elliott out in front. Reddick is right there. So is Kyle Larson. Austin Cindric has driven through the field. William Byron, Bubba Wallace, Connor Zillage. Jamie.
Well, Brad Keselowski, a two-time winner here. You guys were talking about him up front, led 8 laps earlier, but since he has fallen like a rock, back in 22nd, that handling going away.
Wow. Doesn't take long.
I'm just too loose, way too loose, building freer as I go.
Building freer as you go, getting worse.
Not fun here.
Not good.
No, you feel like you're on the racetrack, on top of the racetrack, out of control when your car is handling good. So when it's too loose, it is
absolutely
not fun.
Get me out of that dirty air, which is exactly what he's done. I want to get by myself. Give me some room.
And when the field spreads out like this and you're in Brad's position of having a bad handling car and it's single filed out more than double file, it almost becomes hard to keep up with the back of the pack if you're having those handling issues.
Battle's on, 4 to go.
Well, and what showed up at the front of this pack? Chevrolets. You still see Cindric up there. You obviously see Bubba Wallace right there. But the Fords have kind of spread out. We still see Cindric there in 4th. You've got Logano in 6th, but they're not in control of this race anymore. And that's typically the history of this racetrack, that the Chevrolets have showed up at the end of the run.
Well, there's 3 Hendrick cars working together. Big push on the bottom out of Cindric. Bubba got really loose.
Austin Cindric drove through the field. He started 30th and came all the way to the front. He's not led a lap, but he's done everything else. Stage points. 10 to the stage winner, 9, 8, 7, all the way back to 1 point for 10. This is the most lead changes in the first 60 laps at this track since they reconfigured it.
Lost the help on the outside. Actually, Larson moved up higher in 3 and 4 and got Chase Elliott tight behind him. Byron actually went to the bottom, went on with the momentum that he had. That shook up that 3-car Hendrick brigade that they had going on.
17 lead changes so far. A Toyota and a Ford leading 3 Chevrolets. It's going to be 1 to go in the stage.
And you see Bubba Wallace right now. Bubba Wallace right now in control of this last lap, but he's had a car that's run up front, but Austin Cindric just drives by him on the outside.
And he gave him that outside too. That's a block there. He chose to give him the outside, and away he went. Don't get out there too far.
Yeah, but he pulled down right there so that those guys didn't get a draft, but they're going to have a massive run.
And what you say, Dave, which one do you block? The inside or the outside? They broke up. Worked out in his favor there.
Cindric looking for the 10 points, and his Penske Mustang is going to win stage 1. From 30th to 1st, how about that?
What a drive by Austin Cindric. Obviously, that car has a lot of speed. You see right there, he's able to be aggressive with that car to be on the offense, which is what you want.
Cindric, Wallace, Larson, Byron, Elliott, the top 5. 5th stage win at Atlanta for Cindric. Check out the all-new Fox Sports digital show Speed with Harvick and Buxton, fueled by Cohen. It debuts tomorrow. Subscribe to Speed on Fox, on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Jamie Little.
Chase Elliott led earlier as he gets ready to come down and meet his pit crew. Most of the guys behind me have been together since Chase has been in the Cup Series, and they just continue to get better. In 2025, this was the #1 team.
Nick Odell, front tire changer. I have pit for both Chase Elliott and Bill Elliott.
Calvin Teague, rear tire changer, 4-time Cup Series champion.
Jared Erspamer, tire carrier, no fun here.
TJ Simke, Jackman. Best lawn in the garage.
John Giannato, fueler. I have 2 kids, Mikey and Julia.
All business, no jokes.
Well, it is.
Best lawn in the garage.
It's getting ready to be all business right here on pit road. This pit road is narrow. Stalls are small. Lots of places you can get yourself in trouble. But we've seen it week after week. You know, you got to get the tires tight. You got to get the pit crew guys got to do everything on their end. But there's a lot of room for having problems. Not a lot of room for having problems right here on this pit road.
And who can that be problematic for? A guy like Cindric that's leading this thing but didn't get a good pit stall choice because of the metric. Keep an eye on him and how he comes off of pit road.
And pit road starts right there. Under caution, it's 45 miles an hour from that white line all the way to the end of pit road. Under green, you can run 90 miles an hour on the flat until you get to the yellow line at the head of the actual pit lane, and then down to 45.
See them use that way outside line because that arc is narrower down there, obviously shorter way around. You can get caught speeding, so they maximize all their efforts there by running on the outside. Here we go.
Here they come, Jamie.
Chase Elliott gets the countdown into his pit box. He comes in from 5th. Said that car has been good, tight early, but got better as they run. The call is for 4 tires, only 11 seconds of fuel. Oh no, he overshoots his box. They have to push him back, guys, costing valuable time. He finally comes to a stop, Josh.
Kyle Larson, that car just a little bit tight. It'll be 4 tires and weight on fuel for the 23. Oh, Bubba Wallace, he said, man, I just need some grip in this thing. 4 tires and fuel as well, Regan.
Austin Cindric in the 2 cars just a little to the tight side, wants a small adjustment so he can feel what it'll do potentially for later in the race.
Well, that's exactly what we were talking about. Chase Elliott overshooting his pit, and it puts you in a hole really quick. So
Chase Elliott, best pit crew in 2025, and they're off to a rough start here, having to reposition to make their stop. They'll come out in the back.
And we're back live. Time for a high-speed race break brought to you by AT&T with Jamie McMurray. I'm Chris Myers. We're in turn 1 in the infield with some fans. We found a warm spot here. And where are you guys from?
Gainesville, Florida.
Florida. And you like this? You like this? What are you going hunting to later?
Oh yeah, next spot, turkey season.
Well, you got a good way to keep warm. I'll tell you who's warm. There's a couple of different race teams up and back in that first stage. Austin Cindric, the stage winner. By the way, Roger Penske celebrating his birthday on Friday.
Yeah, well, first off, we fit in like a turd in a punch bowl down here in our group of friends that we found right here. But we did find a little bit of warmth. Listen, there's really not anyone sticking out in this race that sticks out to me. Penske's been really good. Hendrick Motorsports been 23-11. The race is going to have to play out. One thing I learned with Bell in that pre-race interview, though, is that the grip will continue to go up. Can't wait to see who can rise to the occasion.
Yeah, Joey Logano's led the most laps. He did in both races last year, but did not win those races, even though he's a two-time winner. All right, let's go back up to the booth where it's warm as well.
Thank you, Chris. Stay warm down there. I'd say get a cold one, but you know. All right, we had Chase Elliott having trouble in the pits overshooting the box.
Well, you don't want to slide your tires, do you? So you can have a free shot stopping here if you want to when we come.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, I just got a little too much in the turn there and got messed up.
I tell you what, that reminded me of Mortimer and Randolph coming to America down there huddled around that burn barrel. Let's watch this. Ooh, slid right through it. Didn't take much, did it?
Well, and he's got an opening in front of him, so.
Now here's the leader, and I was talking about this, but this was just nothing more than a slow pit stop.
Waiting on fuel. Get that second can in.
Well, he probably burned more than most coming from 30th to the lead.
And you want to keep the fuel full as much as you can in this race so that your later stops are quicker. So definitely want to make sure that tank is topped off, which they did right there.
All right, you won't see Ryan Blaney up toward the front. He was too fast exiting pit road. And Cody Ware pitting outside the box, though he will restart in the back. Here's our aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Legends aren't born, they're proven. 1.5 mile quad oval in Hampton, Georgia. Racing here since 1960. There's the blaster cam on board Michael McDowell. He'll restart 12th.
Good stuff. Always have a can of that in the toolbox.
Austin Cindric, the stage 1 winner. Larson and Byron bring them to the line for stage 2.
See Bubba Wallace right there, right on that back bumper of Kyle Larson. The thing I'm most interested in seeing right here is who made their cars better, because Austin Cindric, we saw him drive from the back to the front right there, win the stage, and can these guys make some adjustments on their cars to put themselves in a position to compete with that 2 car at the end of the stage?
Now you're going to see him fighting hard for this track position. These things handle better up front. I don't want to, if you're a Cindric, I'm going to stay up here. I did it once, but I don't know if I can do it again. I try to fight hard and fend off this track position.
And you heard Jamie touch on this a little bit. That first run of the race is always a little bit different than the rest of the runs. Track almost gains grip. We saw Brad Keselowski there in the 6 car have terrible handling issues, go all the way to the back. We saw Cindric able to keep his car handling good, but Logano kind of faded out of the mix of being in control at the beginning of that stage. As you see him shoot by 3 wide on the bottom right there in that 22 car.
Yeah, Logano was a constant in the top 5 throughout that entire stage 1, but whatever Austin Cindric had in stage 1, I want some of that. He came from 30th to win the stage.
Very close quarters with Josh Berry and McDowell. The back of the screen getting into 3. All it takes is one little rub. The rest is history for not only yourself, but it can take a bunch of them out on a track like this.
Wallace drops to the bottom to try to take the lead, and does.
Great racing. That's that option, Kevin. You get that big run getting into 1. Do you take it or do you stay in line? He elected to take it. Here we go.
Yeah, and he was right on the back bumper of the 5 car of Kyle Larson and almost just drifted right off the bumper and just tried to keep the momentum all the way down to the bottom. And what that does right there, when you know you have that open lane, you're pretty confident that that front end is going to have all that air on the front of the car and be able to keep that car turning. Wouldn't really want to make that move behind somebody in traffic because you might get that tight condition and have that front end push up the racetrack.
It takes a pretty good leap of faith right there.
I want to give a shout out to the car on the outside at 88 at Connor Zilich. Doing a great job. A lot of learning right here for a rookie. Exactly where you need to be.
Josh?
Guys, for that 88 car, remember, this is the first time for Connor Zilich in a Cup car. He's returning to a track. Last year in the fall race, he finished 11th here, and we've seen him make some major moves given where he started, where he's running right now. Came over the radio before that stop, said this car is great, feels really good about it, everything he's learning. Let's see how he progresses through this race, guys.
Currently 8th. Now, we've talked about the wind, and the flags have been out straight all day. I think the least amount of wind we've seen is about 20 miles an hour. Steady 30, gust to 45. Here's what the drivers have been saying.
How is it up there, dude? Well, if you stop hearing me talk, it's because I blew away. I think the wind might actually be worse than Daytona was, blowing into turn 3, so I think that could definitely be a trouble spot. How's the wind up there? Well, it's got me considering I should have talked about hazard pay in my contract.
To 45 miles an hour. Wind out of the southeast. Wallace leading Byron, Larson, Cindric, and Noah Gregson. Gregson finished the stage 12th, but he took 2 seconds less fuel than the leaders to gain track position.
Yeah, and that'll benefit you now, Mike. Sorry to interrupt you there, but that'll benefit you now. But you're going to pay the price for that at some point on pit road. So, but there's got to be a lot of emphasis on being aggressive to get these stage points in case something happens at the end of this race and you get tore up. So you want to try to take those stage points every chance that you get.
Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Kyle Larson, Austin Cindric out in front in Atlanta. And a huge crash at Atlanta has taken out Ty Gibbs, Josh Berry, and others at lap 81.
Well, the grass is on fire here. Tried to start it. Pipes caught the grass on fire.
Ty Gibbs out quickly.
Big impact for Ty Gibbs. You can see the damage to the front of the car. He's out.
This happened back at 15th place.
Getting into turn 3.
Calamity corner, as we said.
Here we go. All right, you can see him on the outside, obviously right there behind Bowman. See the energy starting to come. Oh, it seemed like,
yeah,
it seemed like Berry actually lifted a little bit when he drove down across him to try to go shoot in front of him, clipped him obviously, and
well, I think what happened right there is you're just going to see Bell with a late move right here, and you see the 54 had already committed to go below the 48, and I don't think they were expecting to be 4 wide right there.
We're not clear. He tried to shoot down to the bottom and just clipped him.
Denny Hamlin with a little bit of damage there. As caution is out for the second time today, Ty Gibbs and Josh Berry. Drawl, well, here's the cure. The United Football League is back this spring with a new season of real pro football. It all kicks off March 27th on Fox. Second caution of the day. Ty Gibbs and Josh Berry's cars hauled to the garage. Carson Hocevar will get back on the lead lap with the free pass.
Yeah, and that worked out great for Hocevar to be able to have these couple of cautions while he was the only car a lap down. I mean, I think his car is fast enough to get back to the front, but you see Josh Berry and Ty Gibbs tore up right here, and minor damage for the rest of those guys.
Left side of your screen is where this starts.
Yeah, and I think that the 21 had to go up the racetrack because the 20 made a late move down the back straightaway, and 54 was coming down the racetrack, not anticipating the 21 coming up because they were going to be 4 wide. So that just looks like one of those racing deals. One going up, one coming down right there.
You remarked about damage on the left rear of Denny Hamlin's car. Riley Herbst got into him a bit as they were trying to get through that. And
you'll see it, that's Riley right behind Denny as he had to check up. Yeah.
This is from Hamlin.
Not a good feeling right in front of you. Wow, got very, very lucky. Very lucky to not have any more damage than he has on this 11 car.
All right, with the pits closed for one more lap, our Daytona 500 winner, Tyler Reddick, had a very busy week, but it capped off with this morning's team meeting, and they allowed us to sit in.
I think we feel pretty good about what we've got. We definitely took the cold weather that we have today into consideration on all the body build and setup stuff. So optimistic about today, but same time, remember last week was fun to celebrate. Great job, but today's a reset. New day, chance to prove ourselves again. So everybody stay diligent, stay in the moment. And as we always end it, control what we can control. Let's execute together. 45 on 3. 1, 2, 3.
45. So you win the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Billy Scott and Tyler Reddick were honored at the Motorsports Hall of Fame outside Turn 4 at Daytona on Monday morning, where they presented the winning car. It will sit there for a year. And then Tyler Reddick went off on a whirlwind tour.
Tyler Reddick comes to the line. The biggest career accomplishment. Tyler Reddick writes his name in the history book.
New York City and the Empire State Building, all the way at the very top. Incredible stuff right here.
Excuse me, bro, what do you do for a living?
I drive NASCAR. So just won the Daytona.
No way.
Daytona 500 champ, Tyler Reddick.
Daytona 500 champion, Tyler Reddick.
Tyler is joining us right now. Does it feel real, man? Has it sunk in? What's it been like?
All right, cars are coming to pit road. Let's check with Larry Mack.
Yeah, Mike, 72 laps to go. We're at the fuel window. You're seeing everybody pretty much come to pit road. This is a chance to fill it up. I think a lot of them's going to do fuel only to get to the end, but I'm hearing some, like Jim Pullman and Kyle Busch, saying the way we fell off at the end of that run, let's think about tires. So I think you'll see a mixed bag here.
Yeah, that number 8 got up as high as 7th and comes into pit road in 10th. Jamie?
William Byron in the 24 started 13th, worked his way up to 2nd. He's kind of been on both sides of the fence, loose and then tight. This last short run, so the tail was wagging the dog and he lost his nose. So they are going to make an adjustment and fuel only, no tires here for the 24, Josh.
Well, for Kyle Larson, said that car got much freer when he was out front. It'll be fuel only for them. Same deal for the 23. 3 seconds of fuel and out. Regan?
Last adjustment for Austin Cindric didn't make the car turn any better, just made the back looser, and you see there a quick fuel only stop for him.
And you see how much more chaotic gas only makes this pit road, because it doesn't leave enough time for the guys to make that pit stop while the other guys are trying to get in their pit stalls and you're getting out.
And the pit road's not that wide, so at least one driver decided to take 2 off the grass to get by. Cleaning up the second caution of the day in Atlanta.
week, NASCAR hits the road as the Truck Series visits St. Pete for the first time. And the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and Cup Series return to Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Racing kicks off Saturday with the trucks at 12 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
Welcome back to Atlanta. Laps complete. Everybody's been to pit road for tires and Sunoco race fuel with zero carbon bioethanol. And they've got enough of it to go to the end of stage 2. With Kyle Larson out in front of Tyler Reddick, William Byron, Joey Logano, and Ross Chastain. There's some sound from William Byron's team, speaking of fuel.
To make it, we probably need to be at throttle like we were sort of at the start of the race, at, test plate-ish throttle to make it to the end. But I think we still got to get closer here, so if we get in our caution, they'll get us there. Gotcha, yep.
Ty Gibbs, Josh Berry both checked at the infield care center and released. Todd Gilliland too fast entering pit road. He'll restart at the back. Carson Hocevar, the free pass, is now back on the lead lap. Jamie?
Well, Christopher Bell came in for a long pit stop. He had right side rocker damage, and he also swapped out his steering wheel. So they pulled this one off, and what happened? They didn't have practice or qualifying. This is where you want that line. That piece of tape needs to be straight up. He got in the car, and it was off to the left just a little bit, so they had to swap it out. Guys, you know in the booth, that's something they usually get done when they have practice.
Yeah, when you get that wheel off like that, I got so used to where it was that I felt like I couldn't even drive the car. It messed everything up that I had going on inside the car. But they changed the wheel, so not sure if they just retaped the wheel. You saw those tape lines on the steering wheel. You can see them all right here. Everybody has a different spot that they put those tape lines in. You see the 3 stripes on the wheel right there. But the center one is just to keep you going straight. The other one, the green and the red, on the sides above the hands right there of John Hunter Nemechek, that tells you where to put the wheel straight on the pit stop. So great view from inside our Toyota racing camera here.
Getting ready for the restart. You saw the view from Eric Jones. He made a long pit stop. Here's the Wendy's cam on board Ross Chastain. He's going to roll off 5th. "91 laps complete. This stage is 100 laps long. So we're on lap 32 of 100. From the Valvoline cam on board Kyle Larson, we get ready for the restart. Everybody on track, 36 cars on the lead lap. Here we go.
These first 4 cars right here, they've been consistently up at the front of the pack all day. Right behind them, you see Ross Chastain and Connor Zilic. Zilic has been up there, but this is really our first chance to see that one car of Ross Chastain as he darts to the inside right there below Joey Logano.
And back to the outside, going where they're not. Keep that air on the nose.
Well, if you watched the race yesterday, you saw that he was right in the mix to win that race at the end. We've seen him be really competitive at this racetrack, so not surprising to see him up front.
Boy, they just swarmed Zilic both sides with Michael McDowell going to the bottom, and they're going to drop him. On board Chastain, use promo code Atlanta for a $1 spicy or classic chicken sandwich with purchase in the Wendy's app today or tomorrow. his success last year in Atlanta, here are Ryan Blaney's real results. Sponsored by Chipotle.
One bad gate, then all 2x2.
Blaney 15th right now with 1 win at Atlanta in the spring race 2021.
Can't get out of that. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can't get out of that hornet's nest, can he? Just kind of seems to be stuck right there in the middle of the pack where that air is very turbulent. We've talked about these Fords having a little bit of handling issues. In the scenario that he's in, he needs to either get to the front or get some clean air on the nose of that car.
Yeah, and we've seen his teammates, Austin Cindric and Joey Logano, be at the front of this pack all day, and not really seen Blaney be a consistent contender up at the front right there all day. But right there, he's stuck on the bottom, going backwards.
Not getting a lot of help either. You need help in a scenario like this. Get some pushes and get the momentum to get on by it. And then being on the bottom makes that a challenge.
Daniel Suarez alongside Blaney in the 7. Keselowski a couple of cars back.
Yeah, and we've seen Brad make it to pit road a couple times, just trying to make adjustments to that car. He just really hasn't been able to get the handling where he likes it to be on the offense, like somebody like Austin Cindric and these Hendrick cars that are leading the pack right now.
He is 27th right now. 3 wide around Riley Herbst. That's Ryan Preece going by, and Alex Bowman. That's back at 14th place. Now Kyle Busch was going to take 2 tires, but they had a mistake on the right rear. Ended up having to take 4 tires, and Busch dropped from 10th to 24th.
Yeah, and that's definitely been the MO out of this team, right? Like, you get yourself in a position to be up in the front of the pack and have a chance to contend for the lead, and all of a sudden you have that mistake and you got to start all over.
All right, here's Joey Logano's radio. Are they going to save fuel, or are they going to go for the lead?
Do I want to take that, or do I need to be content where I'm at? Need a little help, need a little coaching. We're not saving anything, we're going.
Good.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they're right on the edge. Everybody's a little bit nervous as to where they are on fuel, so they're definitely having that conversation. But they told him to just go.
Bubba Wallace out front of Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick with 101 laps complete.
Oh, lady, when you come on down, won't you come on down? I said, my town. Oh, mama, when you come on down, won't you come on down? I said, my home.
toe links broke.
As you saw in our side-by-side coverage, we're under caution for the third time today at lap 103. Riley Herbst, who Tyler Reddick credited with giving him the push that won the Daytona 500 last week. Herbst finishing 8th in the Great American Race, involved in this one.
Look back here, you see Riley Herbst right here. Starts to shoot to the bottom. I think he just lost the nose a little bit and got up into the 3, Kevin.
Yeah, it looked like he had a big run right there and either just misjudged his car, the right front corner of his car right there, or like you say, got tight, got into the back of the 3.
Well, it definitely turned the 3 around, and you see him going back up the racetrack. Some cars there. Got to,
that's
the 34 in it. Ricky Stenhouse has
heavy
got
damage.
Yep, major damage on the front of his race car.
BJ McLeod and Todd Gilliland also involved.
Gilliland's got a broken right rear toe link, but I think that car's not as bad off as we thought. You see Stenhouse slamming into him pretty hard right there. But looking at Gilliland in the 34, watch Cole Custer.
Oh my goodness, right there, that 41 car. What a move.
Yeah. He throttled up, and that's what saved him, didn't it?
Zane Smith also with a bit of damage there toward the end of that.
You see Custer throttle up and get past them.
A lot of cars taking evasive action right there. That's so hard on the splitter. You've got the banking. You see one more angle right here. But as these cars come down the racetrack, down below that yellow line, just hits that splitter so hard. Feel that right through your spine in the driver's seat.
Well, here's the Morgan & Morgan view. Call your lawyer after this one.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't do anything wrong, so I think you're right. Call the lawyer. We got a defense. That's too bad. Tore up some good race cars.
One of those was Ricky Stenhouse, who had a great Daytona 500 finish. Right into the center of the 35 and then piled up. And here's the Advent Health Cam on board Eric Jones.
They heard him throttle up right there in case those cars shot back down the racetrack. He didn't want to get hit in the right rear quarter panel. Great onboard shots right there.
Well, let's check with our crew chief, Larry Mack.
Well, Mike, with that cautionary, remember we heard some teams talking about maybe saving fuel. One of two things here. These cautions buy you enough to make it to the end now because you can save so much more fuel on the caution. Or if you're at the back of the pack and you're questioning, come on and get fuel. Maybe go ahead and get 4 tires. They do have almost 25 laps on these tires right now.
If you're one of those guys in the back, no brainer
Come on,
for
4
them.
tires and fill it up.
It just puts you ahead of the game, right? You get your fuel tank full, you get your tire amount of laps on your tires ahead of everybody else's. It gives you more options. And when you're in the back, and Todd Berry, when he was my crew chief, he's like, well, sometimes you just have to pit like a loser. And when you're in that scenario, it can flip the race though when you have that, because you just never know how it's all going to cycle through.
Look at the difference it made in Hocevar. When they came in and was able to put them tires on, he was held suit right there with the leaders.
That's exactly what we have right now. The back of the field hit pit road.
And sometimes that's the disadvantage of leading these races, because you don't want to give up the track position. You don't want to put yourself in a position to go to the back. But these guys up there, they can take full advantage of it.
So Daniel Suarez in 19th place will be the first car to come to pit road, and everybody behind him, as Larry Mack pointed out, follows suit. Like a lot of gas only, filling up with Sunoco race fuel with Poet Zero Carbon Bioethanol. tires for Keselowski. Damage repair on B.J. McLeod. Otherwise, a lot of fuel only.
Yeah, it was mixed in with a lot of 4 tire. It just kind of depends on where you were right there. But in the end, the most important thing is that fuel to be able to make sure you can fill that stop down the road as short as possible.
107 laps complete. Second final. The Autotrader 400 on Fox is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, revving up the savings on home and auto insurance. We're halfway through stage 2. Here's your Progressive race summary. Tyler Reddick, the race leader, one of 8 today, 26 lead changes already, and still 32 cars on the lead lap. We're just finishing up the 3rd caution of the day, 23 caution laps. And let's have a look at today's big move, sponsored by Pods. We're going to concentrate on Cole Custer.
Well, this was a great move right here. You're going to see the 3 car at the right side of your screen come down the racetrack, and he's got a lot of wheel into it to the right. Doesn't get that wheel back out of it and shoots back up the racetrack. And Cole Custer right there shoots the gap and just at the last minute pulls this car to the right.
Whoa.
Man, talk about threading the needle. That was close.
All right, here we go as the drivers approach the EchoPark Automotive restart zone. Reddick Wallace, Briscoe Larson, Logano Byron, Hamlin Chastain. And we're back to green.
leading this field back to the green flag, and with that caution, Everybody should be in good shape. Kyle Larson shoots to the bottom, puts those teammates nose to tail up on the top. You see how quickly that bottom line can fall apart right there when you get the momentum on the top. And it's just so much harder to keep that bottom lane organized, to keep the momentum as it is to that middle lane and the top. But putting those two teammates nose to tail, see Reddick shoot to the bottom, and sometimes you'll do that so that, especially if you're in a teammate scenario like that, so they can get the front end to have that air on the car. So you'll see them somewhat stagger the lane sometimes in order to try to help them get through the corner wide open instead of having to lift.
I like this right here. Reddick way down to the bottom and doing just that. Gave his teammate clean air to keep that nose underneath of him. Stalled out the line on the bottom, made him tight with Larson, then moved right back up in front of his teammates and pulled down the straightaway. That's exactly the perfect scenario for Reddick, the leader. Especially having that teammate behind him.
19 car snuck up on us, guys.
Yes.
Chase Briscoe found his way to the front. Obviously had to start in the back with his trouble that he had from Daytona since qualifying was rained out. We started this field based on the metric, but he has found his way to the front. We talk about how important these stage points are.
You see how Reddick moves down and takes that line away from the 5 Larson on the bottom. As soon as he does that, man, he has to lift and the car goes up the racetrack and really stacks that line up.
Yeah, and putting your car in the lane of the car behind you just takes the air off of that, and that's as good a defense as it is offense.
That's right. Perfect storm both ways. And it's all because of that, having a teammate behind you.
Ricky Stenhouse checked and released at the Infield Care Center.
Now that teammate got on the bottom. Larson said, I want up there. I don't like this bottom. Scrubs a lot of tire off of it too. You're pulling on the wheel really hard. That just makes things, all your handling woes get worse and worse. Big push in the bottom.
Yeah,
clear.
No, 23 was coming fast enough to where Tyler Reddick couldn't pull down right there to stop that run.
The runs seem to develop so much faster here than they do at Daytona.
Everything happens faster here. Usually it's like bigger is bolder. In this scenario, smaller is bolder because you take a mile off of the racetrack compared to the distance here at Atlanta compared to Daytona, and things just happen faster because the lap is shorter, the corners are tighter, it's narrower. Everything about it just happens faster here.
44 laps to go in stage 2 as DJ McLaren takes his car to the garage. Tyler Reddick out front. Welcome back to the NASCAR Cup Series from Atlanta at EchoPark Automotive Speedway. Side by side for the lead from our aerial coverage, brought to you by Goodyear. Tried, tested, proven legendary.
One thing I will say that you can see from this aerial right here, you see the 1, the 97, the 88. We've had a lot of questions. Where would Trackhouse be? And right now we see all 3 of their cars up in contention at the front of this pack, which is a great sign.
Regan?
Well, Mike, as you guys are talking about Trackhouse and the 1 car, Ross Chastain, a very good run right now. Of course, you see him up there running in the 6th position. Earlier in the race, though, he was pretty tight with that race car, struggling with it getting too tight, too quick. Crew Chief Randy McSwain, new Crew Chief Randy McSwain, told me that was part of their plan. They wanted to build up to it today, start him on the tight side, and be able to work forward as they got better.
Better is where they are right now as he's on the bottom, 4th car back. Oh, trouble, Kyle Busch, hard in the inside wall. He was running 13th. And that'll put us under the 4th caution of the day. It was a pretty hard hit.
Yeah, those direct hits like that in these cars, in any car, when you hit that wall head on like that, it is a big shot.
After winning the truck race yesterday, came into this race with a good bit of optimism. He had an interesting finish to the Daytona 500. With 2 laps to go, completely backed out of the gas to trail the pack so he wouldn't, as he put it to the spotter, wasn't going to go up there and drive right into the wreck, and he didn't. He drove around it, finished 15th after all that dust up on the final lap, but that will be the end of the day for the Cheddar's number 8.
See the safety worker right there?
Trying to get it out of gear.
Yeah, he's trying to put it in neutral, reaching over there, grabbing that shifter so that they can tow that car off.
All right, fellas, let's unpack this.
Okay, you see him down on the bottom right here on the bottom lane. And we're going to see him starting to move up the racetrack. I think he was trying to get in that hole, Kevin, right in front of Noah Gragson. Shot out there really quick.
Yeah.
And Noah got in the back of him.
Yeah, and I think Noah was just trying to push him right there. And as you can see from that shot, they're just a little misaligned. And the 4 car was down just towards that left rear. And when he went to push him, it just immediately spun him out.
So we talked about this in the pre-race, Kevin, with the spotters. When they say clear high, you have to do it fast. And you saw what that driver did. He went, look how quick he moved up in there in front of that line. He knew the momentum was on the outside. I guarantee you that spotter said clear high. He took it immediately and just didn't have the momentum. Noah got in the back of him and turned him around.
Yeah, and you know, in Noah's defense right here, when you have a guy that pulls up in line like that, going a lot slower right at the exit of the corner, sometimes you get a little frustrated and you're just like, I'm going to send it.
Watching, you see him in the bottom, moved up.
Oh,
he lifted too. Not only, he lost the nose, didn't he?
Yeah, totally different story.
Yeah.
Once we heard that on camera right there, nothing's on Noah.
He didn't pull up there on purpose. He lifted because the nose took off and put him right on that outside line, right in front of Noah with the lift. You hear it, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Clint. Just got tight, had to check up, and Noah was right there. None of that's on Noah Gragson.
No, absolutely not.
Just
unfortunate.
Yeah, just Kyle had to get out of the gas and wrong place.
Lucky it was a single car wreck, to be honest with you. You don't have that very often.
Cheddar's onboard camera told the story there. And and the 8 will get hauled back to the garage.
And just a barely little burp. I mean, that just shows you how close things happen, how fast they happen at this racetrack.
So Kyle Busch will join B.J. McLeod in the garage, Ricky Stenhouse, Riley Herbst, Ty Gibbs, and Josh Berry out of this race. It's a lot of attrition for us not quite being to halfway.
And that can be expected here. I mean, we knew that the attrition rate was most likely going to be high just because of the type of racing that we see here. And it's so easy to get into that position like Kyle just did, because the car will take off on you, or it'll get loose and you have to check up. And guys coming with those runs, real easy for all this stuff to happen like that wreck right there.
So we're 2/3 of the way through this stage, 67 laps out of 100, and pit road will be open. The first 18 cars did not pit under the last caution. That would be the first 15 cars right now, and they are not coming in this time either. Ryan Blaney's going to be the first to pit road. He's in 17th place.
Yeah, and mostly just those cars at the end of the field. Exact same scenario. Let's keep the thing with fuel in it, put ourselves in as good a position to try to position ourselves for this third stage here to be in a good spot. Probably not going to score any points in the second one anyway.
33 laps to go. In stage 2, we're under caution for this crash for Kyle Busch.
Hang it up so you can tear me down. I don't care, 'cause I'm still here.
Three-wide racing and 3 pileups. All here in stage number 2. Stage 1 was caution-free. We still got 31 laps to race in stage 2 and the 100-lap third stage to go. Some of the drivers complaining about handling and how loose they are.
Yeah, I just can't do scary loose anywhere besides the bottom, which is awful. Yeah, it gets loose very early in the corner, and I'll have moments where I get it back under me and then it snaps again, so it just keeps snapping, you know?
I'm definitely looser running higher, a little bit tighter running slower. Could use more grip. Definitely grip limited.
Yeah, when that car is loose like that here, the bottom of the racetrack is going to feel more comfortable a lot of times. And you heard Christopher Bell right there mention when he runs high, he was loose. So I think a lot of it just depends on where your car is and how the downforce setting compared to the grip level is in the car, based upon what we started this show with. How fast do you want your car to go and how good do you want it to handle, and where does that balance out? So it's definitely a chess match as to what's right. But today sure seems like you want to be able to have that car handle as good as it can if you're going to be good.
Here's some good news. Kyle Busch checked and released at the Infield Care Center. Now, the first 15 cars have not been on pit road since lap 88. Everybody from there on back stopped either at lap 107 or lap 128, but everybody should have fuel to go the distance to the end of stage 2. All right, they approach the EchoPark Automotive restart zone, and we're back to green.
Bumper, you're clear. You're clear, 24's not. You're clear, 24's not. They're still teeing up, top lane's 1 off, 24's off, 3 off.
23-11 holding court here.
They've been in control of this race for a while now. We see a lot of the same players that we had at the beginning of the last restart still up in the front of the pack, as somebody really high against the wall right there through 3 and 4.
Larson drops to the bottom on Briscoe, moves up to third, challenges for second.
Huge.
And takes off after the leader.
Sure was. Huge run, Mike. It just shows you, I love when you see that aerial shot, you can see the momentum, the energy they gave. Whoa! Very close to the outside. Here he comes, trying to get around Reddick.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure that didn't put him in a better spot, being in that top lane. Ross Chastain thinking about pulling into that outside lane, but Chase Briscoe has a massive run, and you're going to see this bottom lane shoot out there again, and then it gets spread apart because you have to lift, and then the car in the lead goes up to the top lane, and then that bottom lane has to get formed back up. But the top is much easier to stay together.
I love this racetrack. I mean, it is just so chaotic all the way through the field. Look at these runs. My gosh, a huge run back to the lead. Here comes Larson.
And as a leader, you really can't defend it because they're going such a higher rate of speed that if you pull down in front of them, you just wreck.
You know, before the repave and reconfiguration, you could have counted on Kyle Larson to spend the whole day scraping the wall at the top of the racetrack. But here he is with the dive bomb moves to the bottom and taking the lead from Tyler Reddick.
Well, you have to have an agile race car that can do that, and you know, the grip. It comes from the grip. You heard Christopher Bell say we're down on grip. Look where he's at. These cars up front, they're happy with their car's grip.
Let's go to the Care Center and Josh.
Well, Kyle Busch released from the Care Center after contact with the 4 car. Can you bring me through your perspective of what happened out there?
I didn't get the best of exits off of 2 there, but when I drifted out to the wall, I was trying to get back straight, and he never checked up, just ran me as hard as he could to get me back going, to get my momentum back going again. But when a guy's a little out of shape, you got to give him a second to collect it before you just ram him, or at least try to check up and push gently. But yeah, that's kids these days.
Thanks, Kyle.
Side by side for the lead, Wallace and Larson, Toyota and Chevrolet. And here comes Logano back into the mix.
Yeah, add forward to it. Fantastic racing. Good blocks, good pushes. These momentum swings that they take. Here comes Chastain. He wants some.
I feel like that 1 car of Ross Chastain is really, really comfortable to drive. You're seeing him make bold moves, being able to pull that car out of line. He must be handling really well right now.
And I think that's a company thing. His teammates are fast too. They've been all over, been able to run on the outside, the middle, the bottom.
You tight.
half off you.
All three Trackhouse cars in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, we saw his teammate SVG back there, 4 or 5 cars in that Red Bull car.
And Zillage right on the outside. You see down the bottom screen.
Yeah, and we had Zillage get in the wall just a little bit there 3 or 4 laps ago off of turn 4, but it doesn't look like it's affected his car much.
Looking at 14th on back here. That's that hornet's nest.
Well, and there, look, again, you just can't count anybody out. I see Hocevar's back in the mix.
Yeah,
I didn't think we'd talk about him again.
And you see that 9 car right there, Chase Elliott. He had that pit road issue early in the race, had to go all the way to the back, but he's worked himself back up into the mix up in the front of this field.
Carson Hocevar back up to 16th now. And he has the Xfinity fastest lap of the race at 186.1.
And that's important. You want to have the fastest lap of the race because that's worth 1 point.
Regan?
Well, Mike, just to update Carson Hocevar's day, we saw that flat tire early on in the race. At the end of stage 1, the right side window flew out. 2 pit stops ago, they actually had to put some self-tapping screws into that window to make sure it would stay in because it got damaged when it flew out. But now Carson working his way back up through the pack and looking very good as we see him go to the bottom there.
Looking for Brian Blaney in our Ford Racing Cam. Kyle Larson. Today, the most laps he has led on a drafting track in a Cup race.
Gotta leave town, got another.
NASCAR Cup Series from Atlanta at EchoPark Speedway. Kyle Larson has now been out in front for 41 laps. He's led 7 times. We've had 35 lead changes. It's a battle at the front. It's a battle all the way back through the field. And the driver making the most noise right now is the 77, Carson Hocevar. He has fought his way toward the front. He's been shoved back. He keeps moving up. And with him, Ryan Preece in that number 60. Preece has gained 21 spots since the restart. He came in and got fresh tires, but had to start in the back because of speeding on pit road. He's raced his way up to 8th place with 13 to go in the stage.
Well, the intensity level has definitely picked up at the front of this pack. We've seen them swapping the lead back and forth, and right now you see Ross Chastain doesn't quite clear him.
And watch the momentum lost here. He's going to have a quick up. Does he take it? He stays low. No, there he went. Probably a smart move.
Chuck Regan.
Well, Mike, you were mentioning it just a moment ago, Ryan Preece and the day he's had. Well, it's been a blue-collar day for a blue-collar type of team and driver. They were very bad early on in the race. No grip in the front or the rear. Right now, just a little bit tight, but he did tell the team recently, this is the best I've been all day long.
Somebody just got up.
That was Ross Chastain, yes. Exactly what we were talking about. Lost the nose and got in the wall in the wake of the car in front of him.
A lot of these drivers have been on the same tires for 61 laps now. And it's beginning to show.
And as this race goes, that groove will get higher and higher. And it looked dirty right there.
Patience. Now you see Wayne Byron in the middle. Which lane do you go for? Who do you push?
Well, there's another car we thought we had kind of rode off right there. That 6 car, Brad Keselowski, you saw right at the end of that shot. But Chase Briscoe back to the lead.
Yeah, these Toyotas got Larson spit out of there.
Fighting for stage points with 9 to go. Here's what happened to Chastain.
You see those 2 cars running. As soon as they got really close to one another, that created a big hole in the air. No downforce on that one car. Lost the nose, took off up, and hit the wall. Here he lives. Bad place to be. Nothing you can do about it, is there, Kevin?
No, it's just a characteristic at this racetrack for this car. And sometimes you just can't get that thing to turn, and it takes off on you bigger than you would ever expect.
Here comes Christopher Bell up into play. He got up, had a look, had a sniff of 3rd place until they got both either side of him.
This has become a handling situation. You got Toyotas up front. Now you got the Chevrolets. Fords are having trouble.
77 car got the wall there off of turn 2. Doesn't look like it affected anything. The intensity level has spiked, Mike.
Yes, stage point 7 laps away.
Man, 2 laps down for Hocevar, right back in the swing of things in the top 5.
That was Bubba Wallace, I believe.
Well, as the cars get to the end of these runs and the intensity level picks up at the front of the pack, drivers become more and more frustrated. So here Bubba Wallace frustrated with the way he was blocked right there, but right now these guys are trying to put themselves in a position to win this stage and take those points.
You see him have to climb out of the gas. Look how it stacked him up behind him. Larson had to get out of the gas. Here comes Byron on the outside.
What a swarm. They just overhauled Kyle Larson there.
Because it stacked him up in front. You saw or heard Bubba lift to keep from running over the 19.
Oh, Ross Chastain got his hands full right there, got loose, got tight, and then the car got loose, and he gathered it up.
And that spit him right out of the top 10.
Down on grip and pushing harder than we've seen all day long. Can they get to the end of this stage?
It sure doesn't feel like it, Clint.
No.
Back at 20th place on the bottom of your screen.
That was a great move by Bubba Wallace right there on the outside. Chase Briscoe looked like he had to lift and just slightly getting into turn 3, but Kyle Larson's going to pass them both.
Well, all by himself. This shows how those 2 cars stall out. Oh. Here comes Byron to the inside.
Byron with one of those elevator moves to the bottom and drifts up into the middle. 2 Chevys out front here with 3.5 to go in the stage.
Massive runs, last-minute blocks, recipe for disaster. You see that 19 pull down in front of Reddick, shot that car way up the racetrack.
And here comes Chase Elliott around the outside of Briscoe for fourth.
Yeah, as our good friend Darrell Waltrip would say, this has the recipe for a disaster, Mike.
Every ingredient, too. I mean, every ingredient. Oh, we're in the fence with Blaney on the outside. Kind of got pushed up off of 2. 3 to go. Man, I can't breathe. I know they're not.
2 to go.
You in the 22, you're going up from the next piece of 3 wide. Watch your top, watch your middle, watch your middle.
3-car draft at the front, 2 cars alone, and then side by side for the 6th spot.
Yeah, when those cars up front decide that they're going to stay single file like that, it allows them to start pulling away because the rest of the pack fans out and racing their butts off. But as soon as that 3rd place car starts to move around like they are right now, it drags everybody else back in them.
Here comes a run. Byron to the inside on his teammate. Door to door. Where does Bubba go?
All the way to the bottom.
Whoa.
And
got him.
He's got to give him room.
Missed that block, didn't he?
Now we've got Hendrick versus 2311. First 2 cars on both rows right now.
2 by 2 by 3.
SVG on the bottom.
Yeah, both those cars got tight, and it's going to be a battle all the way to the line right here.
Oh, he turns and Larson gets turned.
Coming up the racetrack.
Traffic. Byron wins the stage.
Larson, big impact on the outside. He's done for the day.
And you could just feel that coming. I mean, all of a sudden, the intensity just ratcheted up, and they were just going for it.
And suddenly, those points got awfully expensive.
I saw him shoot down to the bottom. When I say him, you're looking at right there, Kyle Larson tried to come down and block SVG's run. Too little, too late. He was there. Turned him right around. Not clear. You see him on the outside, Kyle Larson. Watch the 5 car. Big momentum we talked about with SVG. Comes down to try to block.
Oh.
This wasn't close, was it?
Well, I don't even know. Was he trying to come all the way down the racetrack? It looked like the 97 might have come up just a little bit.
Well, he came from the top all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, but I mean, he was almost like he was finishing his corner, and Kyle
there's no question
definitely
SVG
misjudged it.
Yeah. I mean, look how high he is here. But look at the run that SVG had.
Yeah, I mean, Larson just trying to get there, and it was just too late.
Stage 2 ends in chaos. Bubba Wallace is the stage winner.
Great week, great finishes. Our Daytona 500 started on time and ended on time. Made some great decisions by starting the race early with the weather. And ultimately, we had one of the guys that we had pinned as a guy who needed to make something happen in Tyler Reddick as our Daytona 500 champion.
So join Kevin Harvick every Tuesday and Thursday for his expert opinion on top storylines and hear from some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment. Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour. Now, at the end of the stage, NASCAR scores this just as they would the end of the race. Instead of running to the line or using the last scoring loop crossed, it is at the moment of caution to determine the running order at the end of the stage. And you'll see that the yellow light illuminates way before the start-finish line. And at that point, Bubba Wallace was the leader. He is the stage winner over William Byron, Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick, and Chase Elliott. So that's how they will set the top 10 and pay off the points accordingly. Here's some radio from Kyle Larson about that crash.
Get your run off the corner. Still inside. Still there. Still there. Still inside. Stay up top here. Stay. Lock it down. Lock it down. Lock it down. Lock it down.
I'm sorry, I didn't know we were 3 wide.
Well, it's all good. We weren't 3 wide. He just came to the bottom. That's my fault. I was just trying to get you picked up top.
Tyler Munn, the spotter. Kyle Larson, the driver.
Yeah, it was kind of confusing there at the end, but he definitely came down too many lanes and wound up getting himself turned around.
So Kyle Larson will join Kyle Busch, BJ McLeod, Ricky Stenhouse, Riley Herbst, Ty Gibbs, and Josh Berry out of this race at the end of stage 2. We'll show you stage points earned today in the 2 stages led by Bubba Wallace. Larry Mack, what do we expect here?
Well, Mike, we're going to go back racing with just a little over 90 laps to go. I think this is a great opportunity to fill that thing up with Sunoco race fuel. 4 new Goodyear tires, but 4 tires here, I'm out of the 4-tire business the rest of the race.
Okay.
And I agree with, I think you got to put 4 tires on right here to put yourself in position at the end of the race. So,
well, we saw drivers like Ryan Preece with new tires blast right through the field. So get them while you can. Now's the time, right?
Yeah, and guys like you said, Ryan Preece and a couple of those guys that did put tires on, they made a difference.
All right, here they come, Jamie.
William Byron having a great race so far, just credited with his first lap lead of the season as they get the countdown for the 24. He said, I need a little bit more grip, and actually the grip is getting better as the run goes on. So overall, the car is good. They're going to leave it neutral. A little air pressure adjustment and 4 tires, Josh.
With the 19 of Chase Briscoe, said that car is a bit snug, but he likes it, allowing him to be more aggressive. 4 tires and fuel for them. Bubba Wallace, they really got that car dialed in the second stage. 4 tires and fuel for them as well, Rick.
Tyler Reddick's been pleased with the 45 car all day long. No different this time. No balance changes. They will wait on the fuel for him.
We saw Chase Briscoe have to back up to get out of his box, and that cost him a second or 2.
Couple 2 tires. 3.
Bubba Wallace is the stage 2 winner in Atlanta.
Live in Atlanta, this stage break presented by Arby's. We have the meets with Jamie McMurray, Chris Myers, and a quick recap here after stage 2, as explained by Mike Joy, won by Bubba Wallace here. After a mild stage 1, a wild stage 2. Ty Gibbs into the wall. His day goes up in flames. There were 8 involved in that, including 3 Joe Gibbs cars. And then lap 104, Austin Dillon and Riley Harps hit by him, 7 cars involved.
Yeah, this was the big wreck of the day right here. A little bit of contact between the 35 and the 3. You see him spinning around, all those guys behind not able to get slowed down. Then right here, Kyle Busch slides up in front of Noah Gragson. Slight contact, sends the 8 car down into the wall, ends his day.
So his winless streak goes to 95 consecutive races. And then moments ago, he was the lap leader. It's Kyle Busch in the 5 kind of slid down running through. Was having a heck of a day.
Oh yeah, Larson has had a great car. Clearly didn't know that that SVG was to his inside right there. Ended up wrecking himself.
All right, so we hit the final stage here. And by the way, we're in victory lane where one of the drivers that survives will enjoy the victory in the second race of the NASCAR season. What are you looking forward to, or the final part of this race?
Well, I thought the 5 and the 23 were the 2 best cars. It's so hard to pick one right now because every time somebody gets the lead, they can only hold it for a lap or so when they get past. So epic racing. I love the fact that the guys are full out the entire time. To me, Bubba Wallace has to be my pick right now based on what I've seen.
I'll look at a Hendrick car to pull this out, but let's head up to the booth. Get the driver picks presented by Arby's.
Clint? Will you let me go first?
Sure.
I'm going to stay with my horse. I picked him early. I'm going to Carson Hocevar. He's made me a little bit nervous, folks. We've been all over the place. Been 2 laps down. The window's blowing out. We were finished 6th there, but now we're back to 27th. Kevin, who you got?
Well, I'm going to go with a proven winner, and that's Chase Elliott. I know that coming to Georgia and coming here to Atlanta Motor Speedway, likes to win here, puts a lot of emphasis on this race, and I'm going with that 9.
I'm watching William Byron. 2 wins here at Atlanta since the reconfiguration. 5 wins on drafting tracks. He knows the way. We'll see. In stage 3. It'll be Fords up front when we restart. Look at them. 5 blue ovals in a row. Blaney, Smith, Buscher, Priest, Keselowski. Then stage winner Bubba Wallace with Denny Hamlin. Byron, Reddick, Elliott, your top 10. We still have 29 cars on the lead lap. Todd Gilliland got one of his 2 laps back there with a free pass. So here they come to the EchoPark Automotive Restart Zone for stage 3.
Tell you what, we've talked about him not being able to handle back there in the traffic. Finally got him up front. That him is the 12 car, Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, and we were worried about Brad, and then you see Brad pushing that 38 car there of Zane Smith. Was a player right up until the very end last week in Daytona.
Connor Zillett started out back, thought he had a loose wheel, and came back to check the lug and top it off. So he's out back.
This Mustang will handle better up front, Kevin. Got to keep it there, right?
Yeah, that's the hard part. Right now you can, well, everybody's got good tires. You can keep that throttle a little closer to wide open all the way around. So as we saw at the end of that last stage, the intensity level, see that 38 car wiggle around right there in a weird spot on the straightaway.
Boy, Zane Smith, he's led laps at Daytona, leading laps here. Brad Keselowski to the front now.
He's still loose off the bumper of the 12.
Smith second, and maybe the first time we've said Denny Hamlin's name today, but there's the hammer right there.
He was talking about his car being extremely loose early on in that race. Zane Smith I'm talking about, and that thing is still using a lot of real estate all over. You can see him again. Just really having trouble. Look how it stacked everybody up behind him. Having trouble keeping that thing under him with the pushes or even in the corners by himself.
Yeah, and you get to this point of the race and you haven't made your car any better, and then you put it up front. You know that you have to stay in the throttle to have any chance at having a good finish, but that 38 looks like it's on the verge of wrecking at any point right now.
So Hamlin to the lead as they swarm around both sides of Zane Smith.
And that is a bad place to be right there in the middle of all this chaos or that dirty area, you see Custer backing out of that thing. Look at just one little burp of the gas, and it's freight train, both sides, blows the doors off of you.
Regan?
Well, Mike, a moment ago, you guys mentioned the 77 of Carson Hocevar further back in the field. They got damage at the end of stage 2 to the right side. They opted on the pit stop to come down the second time that the pits were open to work on the right side, take the time to repair it, and get it perfect for the end of the race. Jamie?
It's been an eventful day for Ryan Blaney in the 12. Started 22nd, worked his way forward in the first stage, and then after that first stop, he was too fast exiting. It took him an entire stage to get back up there in the hunt, and on this last stop, they took right sides only, and that helped. He's hanging on to a top 5 right now.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney, Jonathan Hassler, they have not changed left side tires since lap 88. They're closing in on 100 laps with some cautions there. But what's interesting about Denny Hamlin, his crew chief Chris Gale went with right sides that time. He changed left sides last on lap 128.
And I'm riding along listening to him, and he's already lifting early on in this. That's 2 tires I think are going to be problematic for that 12 car. Yeah, you got me the track position, but I can't hold the throttle down and keep it.
Well, the other thing that is happening, you see right here in turns 1 and 2, that whole thing is in shade. I know it's cold today, but even with that sunlight beating down on the racetrack, it's going to change the handling characteristics of the car. So if that track gains any grip, it's going to help guys like Blaney and some of the guys that we're talking about that changed 2 tires or maybe have been struggling with their cars.
Trace Briscoe to second, and he wants the lead. All right, Briscoe to the front. Instead of showing you a car commercial, thanks to Toyota, we're going to stay right here on track in Atlanta and go Toyota all out.
Top, he's getting a push from the 12 again. Now half. Shoving. Nothing in front of 6.
Briscoe's led twice now for 6 laps. Briscoe Hamlin 1-2. Riding with Bubba Wallace at 8th. Regan?
Well, Mike, you see Denny Hamlin running in 2nd place right now. Had been a quiet day up until recently for him. They have battled tight all day long, but the last pit stop, he finally said, whatever you guys did, you got it about 70% better. Now that we see him up front all day, it's been consistent that the cars, when they get closer to the front, they get better, they start turning better, and that appears to be what's going on with the 11.
Didn't slow that Chastain's car down any getting into the wall.
Riding with Eric Jones. 17th right now. His teammate, John Hunter Nemechek.
And you hear how much out of the gas he is right there, so tells you why he's back in the part of the field that he's in, just having some trouble keeping the throttle down. So.
Briscoe and Hamlin showing the way here. With all the swapping of the lead we've seen, a little surprised to see Denny Hamlin content to stay right in the tire tracks of Chase Briscoe here.
Well, he's a veteran, and I'd say anything he can do to keep this thing single file. That 2nd place car controls a lot of what happens with the rest of the field. So if he darts out and puts himself in a position to pull the rest of that pack up forward, then it's more chaotic. So staying in line and controlling that lane by staying behind Briscoe will keep the chaos down to a minimum.
And I want to take you even further than that. Look at Briscoe, moves up a little bit and gives him some room underneath to get some air on that nose on the left front.
And that's an old school thing. You know, that left front fender down in the clean air is what it takes to help keep that car turning, to be able to keep the front tires going in the right direction.
And that's our Toyota Racing All Out coverage. Let's check with Josh back at the Care Center.
Well, here with Kyle Larson, such a strong car today. You're having a great run, battling in the end of that stage, and unfortunately made contact with the 97. What happened there from your perspective?
Yeah, just all my fault. Obviously, I just my brain, you know, I knew the 45 had been inside of me, and then, you know, I got clear of him, and I wanted to just cut distance, and I guess, yeah, the 97 was just out of my corner mirror. So yeah, I hung a left, and then, yeah, I ran right into him. So yeah, I guess when my comment of, like, I thought that I was, or I didn't know that I was 3 wide, which I never was, I just didn't realize that the 97 had ever gotten inside the 45. So just all my fault. Hate it. Just, yeah, you know, just need to listen more, I guess, and not just reactive off what I feel sometimes. But yeah, had a lot of fun today. Our Valvoline Chevy was really strong, and cool to be, you know, up in the front and in the mix, and yeah, just made a big error there. So you hate it, and yeah, just really hate it for my team. Just wish we could be out there.
Thanks, Kyle.
Well, and just to give you some sort of reference of how you can relate to what Kyle Larson is talking about, that's like the blind spot in your car.
Absolutely.
Right? And he is so focused on what he's doing with his mirrors and everything. He sounds like he kind of just lost track of the spotter. So, but that 97 car was just in that blind spot where the mirrors don't work. We got 2 of them in there, but.
And in all fairness, did sneak up there, right, into that blind spot as he dove down to the bottom and doing everything he could do to get to position. But, yeah, I agree with you. That is a really good definition of the blind spot being exactly what it is.
So Kyle Larson out of the race along with Kyle Busch, B.J. McLeod, Ricky Stenhouse, Riley Herbst, Ty Gibbs, and Josh Berry. 75 laps to go, and they're racing like it's the last lap.
Except for the front. I'm glad you said that. I've been watching the duo of Briscoe and his teammate Hamlin. They're working perfect with one another. And look how they've dictated what's happened behind them. It's a freight train. Let's get some laps under our belt. Let's just ride this thing out. And you nailed it, Kevin. I think that is all driven off of that 11 car. His wisdom, his experience in this. Hey, we don't want this chaos. These dive bombs sliding up. It only accordions all the way back through the field. You want to log laps, you do it just like this.
Yeah, and we've not seen Ryan Blaney show the power to be able to make those big moves like we've seen out of the 5 and the 23 and 45. Some of these cars that have led this race. I mean, maybe the 12 can do it, and maybe he's there, but we haven't seen the powerhouse moves that have been able to come out of some of these other cars out of the 12.
And I'm glad you said that. Talking about the 12, don't forget he's on a tire deficit. He's on 2 tires, so this scenario actually works well for him. Look at that 6 car, big lift for trying to stay from running over the 22. That's a heads-up driving right there. Could have drove right through him, much like Kyle Busch's wreck off of 2.
Yeah, Joey Logano pulled up into a hole that wasn't fully formed, and Brad Keselowski, well, he pays the price. Briscoe, Hamlin, Blaney, Byron, and Chastain in front with 72 to go.
At the top of your lungs till the windows break.
It's been a chilly but an exciting day here in Atlanta. 5 caution flags so far, including the 2 stage breaks, one of which ended under caution. And we've got a battle with 66 laps to go. Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin trying to lead the field single file, and now behind them they double up once again. And we're only running half a second off the fastest laps of the race.
Yeah, I mean, they've been crazy all day. They've been hammered down trying to get themselves to the front, but every time we get to this point in the stage, you start to see that 23, 45, 19, 1, a lot of the same cars show back up. I'm really concerned about the 12 of Blaney having his tire deficit and knowing that his car hasn't been handling good. So as this run goes, we'll see if that handling starts to affect this 12 car any.
Larry, I know it's too early here, but it seems pretty calm here. Could we see a green flag stop?
Well, we're a ways away from that, Clint. Remember, the fuel window is somewhere around 70 to 74 laps. We went back racing with 91 to go. Right now, being at lap 196, the window gets there. You're not going to stop short. You're not going to split it in half. You're going to run as far as you can. I'm staying around lap 240, so just over 40 laps from now, 240 to 245.
That could have been big right there.
Yeah, and we saw that 12 car pull out. I'm sitting here thinking, well, we hadn't seen it all day. Been talking about how he might not be able to do it, but he didn't clear him, and now he's got himself in a position to where.
And look at him going up the racetrack. Had to lift, and now Bubba's on the bottom. That's exactly right. Not where that 12 wanted to be. Tried to chance it. Oh, and Brad Keselowski, I think he got in the wall just a little bit. Heads up driving by Chase Elliott. Yes.
Got into him.
Thank you for lifting for me. That could have been the big one.
46 lead changes so far, and still 62 laps to go.
I think these Toyotas, they win the handling game for the day. I mean, everybody else is going to give him fits and push and shove, and we got one around right here. SVG, Kevin, off of 4.
Yeah, and it looks like he's had some contact with the outside wall right there.
And that'll put us under caution for the 6th time today. He was running 12th.
So much for green flag stops, boys.
That'll take care of that.
Sorry guys, Bill loose and loose there. Tried to go to the bottom.
You see him right here in the middle. And this thing just gets loose, guys. He said it, building loose and loose. Watch this, trying to stay off the cars in front of him, obviously, are 2 and 3 wide. That thing came right out from underneath of him.
And that's what we were talking about at the beginning of the race. When you get your car in these weird spots and you're comfortable, you've been in there driving all day, and all of a sudden, boom, that thing is around before you even know what happens, because of the wind gust and the way that you're in the middle like that and all the things that are happening with the car, and it's just light on its feet and can do that. Any car here can do that at any time.
Boy, he almost ended up right in Austin Cindric's lap. We're going to go for a ride with Cindric. Wow. And Ross Chastain's view.
He had just chosen to move up at the right time, didn't he? If he'd have stayed in the lane in the middle, he'd have been right. It'd have been right in his lap.
Well, I'm screaming at Larry right now to put 4 tires on my car. I'm old school, but as much as these guys have been spinning out and all the things that are happening, if you're questionable, I'm putting 4 on.
You may want 4 tires. I'm not sure a lot of them's going to change 4 tires.
You're not going to give them to me. Not mad at you,
Do me
Larry.
like Earnhardt did one time.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm not leaving till you give me 4.
That's right.
Most all the lead lap cars come in. Todd Gilliland gets the free pass, and that will put him back on the lead lap. So we'll restart with 30 cars on the lead lap. Everybody in here with 60 laps to go. And we are seeing some right side tire changes, a lot of them.
But that 12 car didn't. I'm watching him in the back, and that car did not take right side tire. I don't think he tires. Fuel only again for the 12.
A lot of fuel only, actually. I think including Briscoe in the 19.
But for all Dallas might have got stuck there. Very narrow pit road and very short pit boxes compared to Daytona where they were last week.
Well, I like these guys right here putting 4 tires on their car. I see Ross Chastain is one of those cars right there. And I just think it puts you in a position to be more aggressive as you get towards the end of this race, but we'll see.
All right, the first 8 cars to come off pit road took no tires. We'll see how that plays out. Next Sunday on Fox, the NASCAR Cup Series rolls into Austin, Texas. And the twists and turns of the Circuit of the Americas. It's the Duramax Grand Prix with pre-race coverage beginning at 2:30 Eastern and the green flag at 3:30, only on Fox. Here's today's aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Legends aren't born, they're proven. 57 laps to go. Pit road was a busy place. Not everybody got all the working room they needed.
Yeah, that's just one of those scenarios where you see the car behind you or that's pitted in front of you in your mirror. And you're like, I'm going to wait. Stop, stop, stop. Crew chief says. Exactly. And then all of a sudden you're like, stopped. And then the other guy stops. And then it just becomes a stalemate. It's not horses playing checkers, but it is a stalemate, Clint.
For sure.
Reddick and Hamlin approach the EchoPark Automotive Restart Zone. Giddy up.
For sure. They were worried about handling on the 12 car. They weren't worried too much about it. Look at Briscoe shooting to the outside. prevail, and watch this push from Briscoe.
Yeah, I just feel like Blaney's going to have to be on defense with where he's at with his car. As Tyler Reddick.
Look what it did to the 9 car. Shot that thing straight up the racetrack in his wake, had to lift a little bit. Now he's in the hornet's nest.
Lead changes between Daytona and Atlanta, the most ever in the NASCAR Cup Series in the first 2 races.
And because of that trouble on pit road, you can see Bubba Wallace just barely coming back into the screenshot. Got some work to do to get up there with these rest of the Toyotas that he was accustomed to running with.
Yeah, and at some point today, all these guys that are at the front of the pack have been at the front of the pack. We've seen a lot of comers and goers, but we've had a lot of consistent cars at the front end of this field. And that car right there on the bottom of that 1 car, Ross Chastain, we talked about him taking 4 tires. He's 5th car on the inside line right there. And I believe that those tires are going to pay off for him as we get to the end of this race.
I mean, with 54 laps to go, how can it not?
It has to.
Probably the one surprise is Blaney, who started back in 29th because of difficulty in last week's Daytona 500. Steadily but slowly marched his way through the field, and here he's a contender coming to 50 to go.
Yeah, I just, you know, I worry just when it really gets tight and you have to push and shove, and how it all comes down to that right there. How close can I stay to that guy's bumper to get back to his bumper at the exit of the corner? When you have to have those big lifts, we've seen a lot of guys get tight. So it's going to be intriguing as to who can hang on here with the old tires and whether those new tires make the difference to be able to get all the way to the front.
Kevin, with this new car, take us in the seat of that 1 car. Obviously, you're in the catbird seat with having tires, but can I wait for these tires to wear, or do I need to try to get in position as
always
soon as I can?
Press. Yeah, always press. Always go forward, just like that.
That's exactly what you see.
Take the runs. He's not going to finish this pass right here, but he's got, you know, the 23 car right there behind him. Going to leave him hanging.
That's why he's pushing for it, though, right?
Yeah, I think anytime, the quicker you can get control of the race, the better you're going to be. Close. But he's going to have to reset and start over right here. That didn't work out.
Let's check with Jamie.
Well, you guys have been talking about Ryan Blaney right there in the middle on the 12. They told me coming in here, his crew chief, Jonathan Hassler, he said they came with a different setup. They wanted to try something a little bit better. They were curious about it. Knew they'd have to give up some speed, but they felt like it would handle better. It hasn't been terrible for him today, but it certainly hasn't been perfect. Of course, he had that penalty early he's had to overcome, but they took 0 tires this time. Last time they took left sides was at the stage 2 break.
And I think best case for them is try to keep themselves up front. I don't get a huge confidence boost out of that, but sometimes if you can just put yourself up in the front of the back pack and make good blocks like he has been doing, and not get shuffled to 7th or 8th, and then really have the handling take over, you can make it work, but it's going to be a battle.
Blaney, the first Ford in the racing field.
Don't check us up. It's fine if we control both lanes. Just don't block me. That's where I gotta live.
That's a lot, and it's a lot like Bubba Wallace was saying. What he means by that is give me a lane where I can have that outside. When you shoot to the bottom, let me stay on the outside. You're going to be a shorter way around. We're going to be back off of 2 or off of 4 where we need to be. But if you make me check up, it stacks us all up and loses our momentum. Exactly what Bubba Wallace was saying when he was running second.
Now here comes Ryan Blaney with Austin Cindric with him. Cindric showed in stage 1 he could drive from the back of the field to the front.
Yeah, he's definitely had the best Ford consistently all day, and been able to hang on throughout the long runs like we saw in stage 1. So right now, Ryan Blaney knows he has a great pusher behind him and a good car, and the best thing for Blaney is that right there. Let him be in control at the front of one of these lines to keep the handling of his car good.
That was a scenario where he had to go to that outside. Whether Denny liked it or not, Blaney had the run, and the momentum was coming on both sides. So you got to block one of them. You got to stay with the one you want to dance with. Look how it accordion effects. It stacks all them up, clear back to Briscoe and Logano back there.
And you see Bubba Wallace pull out of that bottom line, so that's going to stack 3 of those Toyotas in that top lane right now. you got the 3 Toyotas up top and the three Fords on the bottom.
And where are the Chevrolets? Well, you've got Elliott and Byron back there 7th and 8th, but not really organized.
Their strength has been the last part of these runs. When you talk about the Chevrolets, we saw that in the first stage when it ran green. This is going to go about the same, maybe not quite as far as that first stage, but Chase Briscoe right up against the fence right there.
I will say this, the Fords can build momentum and speed faster than the rest of them, in my opinion. Seems like the runs that they get, the pushes they get, are even stronger than some of the rest of them. But the handling, Kevin,
they're
that's another
definitely
story.
Yeah, they're definitely faster. I believe they can push easier and do all those things that you're talking about. It's just the long run and the big lifts. You know, how long can they make it happen this run with the shade in the racetrack late in the race?
Christopher Bell trying to make a move on the bottom, 3 wide. Met number 20, last year's winner. And dives for it again.
Yeah. And you hear right now on board with Joey Logano, just the on and off the throttle. Not abnormal, not saying that everybody's not doing that, but it's just who can do it the least.
Ross Chastain to the inside of Bell to repay that favor.
Pretty smooth with his wheel riding along with Joey Logano. Car doesn't look as nervous as we've seen some of the rest of it. Watch Chastain gets to his bumper and going around this lap car.
Yeah.
He's still smooth with the wheel getting into the corner. That car's tight.
Well, you can't use a lot of wheel here. Just you gotta be super smooth because the corrections are just so little with the way that you're kind of wide open. You have those little lifts getting in the corner. You just have to be so smooth with that wheel.
But what a race we've got here. 29 cars within 2 seconds of the lead with 58 laps to go. Let's lean back and enjoy a little Crank It Up. Austin Cindric, first of 4 Fords at the front now. Boy, that changed quickly.
Yeah, Blaney had a moment there. I'm telling you guys, that
these tires.
I still like those tires on that one car. I'm with you, Clint.
Look how close Blaney came to upset here.
Way out front by himself. They're going to bear down on him quick. He's going to have a decision to make.
Yeah, and he just put Reddick in a bad spot right there. Huge run, hard to block him here, and it's also hard to lift. You see the flames coming out of the 45 car. You want to lift as little as possible, but when you get that close, it almost keeps you attached, sucks you together. Oh!
Denny
Hamlin.
Got on into Hamlin. Hamlin goes around, collects Byron.
It's a bunch of them, boys.
Good grief.
Yeah, and it looked like, I don't want to speculate, but it looked like Hamlin got loose right there. Couldn't tell if he had any help or just all on his own.
Michael McDowell involved. Connor Zilich.
Tyler Reddick with big damage, been a player all day.
7th caution at lap 224. There's your Daytona 500 winner pulling away.
All right, obviously it was started around Denny Hamlin, but keep an eye on this 22 car. I think the 22 may have.
Hamlin started to get loose, and he had to make one correction, and then the second wiggle is what lost it for him right there.
It looked to me like that 22 lost the nose a little bit in front of him, and I don't know if that disturbed the air. I don't know, but regardless, the 11 car.
See him wiggle right there?
Yeah, but did you see the 22 heading up the racetrack?
Yeah, so what happens off of turn 4 right there, you can't, it's really hard to run the fence all the way down. So as you get to that 5/8, 3/4 mark of the corner, you almost have to, you have to get the car straight and come back down the racetrack, or it'll get loose. And to me, that's what happened to Denny Hamlin right there. But
well, he was definitely fighting the handling of his car. He was complaining about it on the radio, saying he was having trouble keeping the throttle down. Definitely got loose with the 11 car.
There's the blaster cam. And from the Morgan & Morgan camera on Ford Austin Dillon. Now let's get Denny Hamlin. And Connor Zillage. Well, Clint, at the top of the day, you called chaos, and there's the definition of it.
Buddy, it's Atlanta. That is the definition of Atlanta anymore. But that's why they come. This is there's so many variables to this racetrack anymore. It has a little bit of everything in it. And I mean, attrition is definitely a big part of one of those things about this racetrack you have to get through.
35 laps to go. After this, bringing out the 7th caution of the day. Welcome back to Atlanta. Here are the most recent of the 22 cars that have had some or more crash damage today.
Well, you got this one right here, Clint. Why don't you explain it?
Well, I want you to.
Well,
the 22 guys. We were watching, we were listening, and if you see the 22, see he actually burped the throttle right there, and then he does it again. That nose, he was wheel locked and got tight in front of the 11 car. The 11 car was trying to divert away from him, and when that 22 moved in front, it got him loose behind him. See that? Look at the point of the 22. See him pointing up the racetrack?
Yeah, and Hamlin has to almost turn it back to the right there, trying, like you say, trying to avoid
I thought I saw it that way. Just, it's so hard to call these sometimes, and things happen so fast. Slowed down like that really showed it. Thanks, guys.
Larry, is that pretty much what the data told you?
It was, Mike. Right at that point right there, he had the wheel turned to the left, completely out of the throttle for a moment, and had to stab the brake hard.
Be right here. You see that right before you heard him lift, and that wheel lock. That wheel lock will tell you every time. It's a dead giveaway. That thing's taken off. It feels like the front tires are completely off the ground, doesn't it?
It does, and you're see it right here.
Who's left, Mike?
We're going to have 28 cars on the lead lap when we go back to green. A lot of damage there to Denny Hamlin and to Tyler Reddick.
I've been watching this. I mean, looking at the pylon there, you see Chastain right there in the Chevrolet. Elliott's about the only thing poor old Rick Hendricks got left. These Fords are, there's seems to be hanging tough right there. It's Hendrick, Blaney, Keselowski somehow still in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, our consistent players that we had all day have definitely been mixed up here, and most of them, a lot of them gone.
While we're under caution, why don't we take a look at what's coming up around the turn? It's going to be a very busy weekend. Next weekend, we'll have the truck race from St. Pete Saturday at noon on Fox, the IndyCar race next Sunday at noon on Fox, and then the Cup Series race from Austin, Texas on Fox. So if you're a road race fan, you're going to get your fill next weekend on Fox Saturday and Sunday. Well, chaos, that was the word of the day, according to Clint, and certainly we have seen the most of it, but who looks like they've got the hot hand as we go into what we think may be the closing stages of this race with 31 to go?
Well, you're looking at the top of the board there. Look at Austin Cindric. I mean, we just started all the way in the back, drove completely through the field from, I think he started 30 at the beginning of the race. So I like the handling and what I see out of Austin Cindric. Great super speedway, you know, restrictor type race car driver with him. So I think I got a new horse, Kevin. I'm jumping ship.
I'm not jumping ship. I think Chase Elliott's still going to be in the middle of this, but I like those 4 tires on Ross Chastain's cars.
Yes.
Just because of the fact it lets you be on offense. I always want to be on offense, and you see just how little of a moment it takes right there with Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano to get yourself in trouble. And those are the accidents that we've seen. It doesn't take much for you get out of control. So anything you can have to help that grip.
And obviously surviving is the obvious for Chastain, but getting this track position, that's exactly what he needed. Well, I need to be able to utilize these tires, Mike, and now I have the track position. I have the advantage if I'm Ross Chastain.
Have we seen the last caution?
Oh, no.
Okay.
But I'm curious about Christopher Bell, because last year's winner has kind of sniffed around the top 5, but hasn't really been a force to win this race yet.
You know where he won that race from, the starting position last year? 32nd.
Okay.
You know where he started today? 32nd. Uh-oh. You might be right.
We've had a record number of lead changes for EchoPark Speedway, Atlanta Motor Speedway, 54 now, and counting. And we're not done.
I think Chastain's the one that can really shake this race up. I totally agree with you, Kevin. Got the upper hand with the tires. I mean, if I'm him, out of all the drivers out there, I'm the happiest sitting in this one car right now. Don't have a lot of dancing partners up here. Nobody I can trust, but I don't know with the way this race is, with these runs and everything else that we're seeing getting into 1 and in 3 for that matter. I don't know if the dancing partners mean anything anyway.
Yeah, well, you just have to take the runs when you get them, and you're gonna push whoever's in front of you. You only have so many choices, and I think that the big decisions come when you're 3 wide. Do you follow the guy that's taking the run and keep pushing him? Do you let him go on his own and push the guy in the middle? So it's really going to come down to who can make all those right decisions as we get towards the end. But we've seen Cindric, Blaney, Chastain, Elliott. We've seen all those guys. Christopher Bell won here last year. Logano's made those decisions. Bubba Wallace has been up front. So a lot of players in those top 8 cars.
28 cars will restart on the lead lap. And here we go as they approach the EchoPark Automotive Restart Zone. It'll be 29 laps to go.
I think the best car that was able to put tires on and utilize that pit stop came out 14th, so with 29 laps to go, I guess we can keep an eye on those cars and see if they can get to the front, utilize the tires. Ford versus Chevy. Pair of Fords on the outside, Chevy's on the bottom.
The first car with new tires is Ryan Preece in 13th.
And that's what put him in position in stage 2. And 28 laps, still a long ways to go. And see those flames out of that 6 car right there going into 3. That's what you don't want. That's what's going to put you in a position to push that car in front of you, keep that spacing right, and be able to let them go. And that was tight. I don't know who that was, but might have been Preece right there.
Now remember, Brad Keselowski still recuperating from that broken leg on a ski trip. He's not sure if he can race next weekend at COTA with all the shifting that's involved. If he can't, Joey Hand will step into the number 6.
Kevin, listen to you talk about the car that I don't want to be in. It's this one we're riding in, having to lift and things like that. Where I don't want to be is behind him if he's having to do that. I need to get around him. I need to be on the outside. That just causes the slinky effect that you're going to see right here getting into 1 with a big block.
And Ryan Blaney gave Cindric a shot, and his teammate shoots ahead of the field.
And look how they have to scatter behind him. Huge lift by the 9. So 22 lost his nose again, shot up the racetrack.
Boy, that dropped Chase Elliott all the way to 8th and more.
Yeah, somehow they need to get these Fords up front split up. But as you see, Brad still back there hanging on, but Ryan Preece has made his way forward. He's going to be a contender before this thing is all said and done, I believe.
Tires, they're going to mean something.
Brad with a shove to Logano. And now there's 2 of those RFK Fords nose to tail.
Okay, you see Ross Chastain out of line right here. Somehow they got to get in between that 2 and that 12 car to get them changing lanes, get them mixed up, because we know that the Penske cars work together well and aren't going to abandon each other until the very end when they're racing for the win.
All right, here's what happened to Chase Elliott. From Keselowski's view.
Same thing that happened to Kyle Busch earlier. He just happened to have Joey Logano on the outside, just wheel lock like Joey Logano did earlier, but that was a much more severe situation than the 22 was. Very similar to Kyle Busch.
Keep it weapon. You're clear up behind Joey if you don't pull it. Clear up behind Joey if you don't pull it. Clear up. My brother Joey, clear up. Clear up.
Oh, Logano gets turned.
Right rear's down on that car. I think it happened because of the
1 car coming off 4.
some contact there, Kevin.
Yeah, it fires it up and gets going. but he spins from contact at lap 239 with 22 to go.
We're going to have to come to you, I think.
See him obviously right here on the outside. He's going to go up to the outside of the racetrack. We've been talking about him being tight. Now watch him turn back down the hill right here. What do you think? Racing deal.
Yeah.
Run out of real estate on both sides of it. I don't necessarily think that Hocevar came up, and I don't think the 22 came down to block him, but he was definitely coming back down the hill, drove across the front of Hocevar.
Yeah, if you go off the painted lines right there, Hocevar's not coming up the racetrack.
No.
He's pretty consistent, but it's 20 laps to go. You got to be aggressive to block. You got to be aggressive to push. You got to take some chances.
Lock it down, lock it down. Caution's out, keep it straight, keep it straight. One more car coming on track, keep it straight.
And I didn't think that Hocevar probably did. Hocevar's on tires, by the way. He was one of the cars that pitted, but yeah, you can just see he came back down the hill. And we've been talking about Logano. He's obviously had his hands full with the handling on that race car. Tried to diamond the corner a little bit, came back down the hill, and unfortunate contact.
Here's Hocevar's view.
It's very similar to the Kyle Larson wreck earlier. I mean, just trying to come down the racetrack to block and misjudged, and the only difference is Joey Logano's going to get away with it. He's going to put some tires on this thing and start at the back of the field and still be able to fight another day.
I want to give a shout out to the best camera crew in all of live action sports, because they've been out there in this 40-degree weather and 25 to 35 mile an hour winds all day long. You guys are the GOATs, and we appreciate the great views you've been giving us in what is not Chamber of Commerce weather. They had that here Friday. It was 80 degrees. Need I remind anybody? But it's a tough one today. But we're glad to bring it into your living room. 20 laps to go in Atlanta. 18 laps to go. And if you think you know who the winner will be, well, look at this. The last 4 races at EchoPark Speedway, the last lead change happened with 1 or 2 laps to go. There are no certainties. Jamie, we got a new leader.
Yes, we do. New leader, Christopher Bell, and what a day it's been for him. Remember back to stage 1, he had damage on the right side in the rocker area. They brought him down. They had to look at that. They also had to swap out his steering wheel. It wasn't in alignment the way that he wants to see it, so they swapped that out. So he's had to battle from the back of the field. But the one good thing on the 20 side, he's been happy with that balance all day, and reporting to his team recently, he's really happy with that rear grip. So watch out. C. Bell, he went on to win 3 straight after this one.
Defending champion of this race, took the lead just prior to the caution flag. Coming out for Joey Logano's spin.
And remember that 23 car, Bubba Wallace, is kind of rebounding from a bad pit stop, and he's found the way back to the front. That car's been at the front all day long. Do not count him out. Make it 2 in a row for 2311. OMJ.
Toyota and Ford on the front row. First Chevy is Chastain in 5th as we get ready to go back to green. It'll be 17 to go. Austin Cindric's been strong all day, but if you've got it, now's the time to show it.
Well, it's going to get as aggressive as we've seen all day because the money's on the line and it's time to go.
This is where those cars taking off and the handling and all those issues, you can't lift now. They're not going to lift. They're going to slide up and probably bounce off of one another, and that's where havoc happens.
The cars in the top 10 with those fresher tires are Hocevar in 7th and Preece.
See Chastain having trouble with the handling of his car, starting to move up. Now Keselowski filled that spot. Hocevar down to the bottom. Huge run on Hocevar. Here he comes.
Well, that's what
Thread
you
the
need.
needle.
That's
Almost
what you need right there.
The
that's not what Austin Cindric wanted to see right there. That 2 car and that 12 car gets split up, but that's what's happening. Blaney's being shuffled to the middle of the pack right here.
Another quick clear up on Hocevar. See the gap in between the 1 car and the 6 every corner. I think that 1 car is really struggling keeping the front end pointed in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, and we talked about his tire advantage and having those 4 tires, but when you start to get cycles on the tires, as you see them 4 wide at the top of the screen.
Chase Briscoe riding the top as Chris Buescher tries to move up. Larry, we're getting down to it.
Yeah, Mike, the last 7 consecutive races in Atlanta has been a 400-mile race, and the average of the last caution, 12 to go, but 2 out of the last 3 races, overtime finish.
Whoa! He's going for it again. There he did it. Shot to the bottom. Hocevar to 3rd. It ain't pretty, but it's effective.
Yeah.
Now, can he break up those 2 Toyotas?
Yeah, I mean, that 45 car with no right front fender, we talk about all the handling and everything that's happening, but there's no fender on the right front of Tyler Reddick's car at all.
Yet there he is.
Something happened big time with Hocevar. He got into the corner, had to lift. And there, just like you said, no front fender on the 45. You can see it. No way that can be good.
Well, it looks pretty good right now.
And he's got tires. He was on pit road lap 241.
I think that's what's saving him. Keselowski's in big trouble in the back.
Single file off the top. Oh, Zane Smith back in the picture.
Yeah, and we saw his car earlier, just how out of control it was. You see Ross Chastain, big move, big run off those cars side by side, and going to clear all of them. And as we've seen every year in this race, it's all just going to come down to which move times out to be the right one with who you push, when you get out of line, how this whole cycle plays out all the way down. With 10 laps to go right now, that's going to play all the way until we get the white flag, and those moves are going to be made right until then. So you got to take the runs, you got to put yourself in whatever lane you think you want to be in, but you can't wait. You can't really pick and choose your partners at this point.
Big push.
Boy, Bubba Wallace coming off last week's disappointment. Here he is with a shot to send his car under the victory lane for the second week in a row. Christopher Bell, though, trying to repeat his success of last year. And on the bottom, here comes Chastain.
Yeah, and the big difference between this 23 car of Bubba Wallace and the 20 car of Christopher Bell, that 23 car, he's raced at the front of this pack all day. As you see Carson Hocevar shoot to the bottom, I don't think he's going to clear him.
Unbelievable. No, he's all by himself here. They're going to push him back by him, but can he get in line before the pack gets to him?
He may need help from Chastain here. Here they come. Nope.
Probably a smart move.
Drops all the way to the bottom and picks up the 7 of Suarez.
You see Bell getting
Suarez,
right
we
there.
haven't talked about him all day. Look at these runs.
He's won this race before. 19 car Chase Briscoe, we thought he was out of it on the bottom 4 wide.
Daniel Suarez on the bottom, headed for the front.
I cannot believe that 45 car with no right front fenders, still up front, holding strong.
Oh, big contact.
Oh, Cindric in trouble.
Reddick and Suarez with fresh tires, fresher tires. Still 4 wide, careful.
That's out the window.
Still 2 in, 1 out.
Yeah.
Careful left.
You see Ross Chastain tight all the way up the racetrack. Opens the door for Chase Briscoe to run that middle lane right there. But Daniel Suarez and Carson Hocevar have put themselves in this lead pack right here. We know Suarez has won one of the most spectacular finishes that we've ever seen.
And here's Briscoe on the bottom.
Look out. Hocevar's not willing to go down without a fight, but nobody is working with him. He keeps shooting to the bottom. Not one car goes with him.
Yeah, but in these situations, Clint, in these types of races, 9 times out of 10, the aggressor comes out ahead of the game, and he is a gasser. He is going to put that car in places that nobody else is willing to do.
Checkers or wreckers. Here's
There he
going to
goes.
the outside again. Chastain, I thought he was out of it. That car looked wicked tight, but I think he cooled him down. Here he comes.
And
Big push. Look at this.
Whoa! The Hurricane to the bottom. Hocevar to second place.
This is awesome.
And he's broken up those 2 Toyotas. They weren't helping each other. They were side by side, and that may cost them right here. Hocevar for the lead on the outside.
What a
Forced his
move.
way up there.
Faked him on the inside, went to the outside. Oh! I think that was a tire
Byron
let
on the
go
ball.
on Byron. Something broke on that car. It just turned straight right. He may have got loose. Caution.
Trouble back of the pack. Big crash in turn 3.
And there's Byron up there. I think that's what caused that.
You're
Something
right.
broke on that car, guys.
Yeah, it just shot up in the middle of
Right
1 and
front
2 right there.
See the right front down. We're going to have to see this. Obviously, the toe links broke too.
Yeah, Byron was in the wall in the back straightaway. And as he drifted back through the field, he collected a bunch of cars.
Pit road, Paul. We're already on pit
Oh,
road.
boy. What a mess Austin Dillon's car is.
Yeah, and that's the 2nd time today for him. Wrong place, wrong time. Oh.
It's going to take more than a plea bargain to fix that. Logano, you heard the damage as he was rolling in. And Cindric, who had such a great race, winning the first stage today and being a contender all day long.
Yeah, but that car right there is the one who got this whole thing started with his trouble in 1 and 2.
And here it is. You're going to see him way off the pace from that incident we saw in 1 and 2 when it shot up, and everybody's trying to scramble to miss him. Cindric clips him, turns him up into everybody else.
Cody Ware, Todd Gilliland, Cole Custer.
See Denny Hamlin getting in there late.
All with pretty heavy damage.
Joey Logano. Still don't know what the cause of the 24 getting into the wall in 1 and 2, but obviously he's trying to get out of the way right there. Just try.
Something broke. Now, obviously, I see that right front tire down. I don't know if that's what went down, but that car, it was in traffic, so you don't really know if we're going to try to find it here, but that thing shot up the racetrack, hit the wall very hard. Okay, here it is. Watch the 24 right in the middle of the screen. You see it wiggling. Something's definitely off the pace there. Can't hold on to it. Gets in the wall hard. Now he's slowing down the backstretch.
And you see right there the damage on the right side of that car that's already happened with the 24 car.
I think that right front was down myself.
Cars in all involved in this one. And from William Byron. Out 11 laps, or rather 6 laps to go now here in Atlanta. We'll be back, fire them up, get them going again. Nine caution flags already today. Early in stage 2, Ty Gibbs, Josh Berry get caught up and knocked out of the race. Lap 104. 7 cars pile up, beginning with Riley Herbst and Austin Dillon. Kyle Busch has to lift, comes up the racetrack, gets a bump from Noah Gragson. He's out of the race. Kyle Larson goes down the track, bumps into Shane Van Gisbergen into the outside wall and out of the race. Denny Hamlin gets swirled up here and then turned in front of the field. They pile up behind him. Then William Byron appears to have a tire go down, gets up and into the wall, and as he slides back through the field, tries to get down the track. Carnage ensues. Here's who's involved in the latest crash at lap 257. And as we get ready to go to overtime, here's Jamie.
Well, 2:23.11 cars still in the hunt here, first and fourth. You win the Daytona 500 last week. Now you got 2 cars still in the hunt. How fun is it to be Michael Jordan right now?
Well, it's fun to be a part of 2311. I mean, obviously I'm a part of that as well, but the guys are really doing well. They really fighting it, trying to get us to win, and you know, we still have 2 chances right now, so let's see what happens, hopefully.
All right, we were talking and said, where did Reddick come from? How does he even stop a chance?
I have no idea. Last I looked at it, he was 18th or 20th, and I'm saying, well, okay, let's just finish the race. You know, DNF is what we don't want. And here he comes fighting to the front. So, I mean, he's operating with the deficit with his car, but he's there that he can help Bubba if he needs to and possibly win. So let's see what happens. Hopefully he can pull it off.
Well, I love that you're still out here because it's about 38 degrees right now. The wind's blowing. Chicago weather, right?
Yeah, I'm so hyped. I don't even feel the cold right now. Yeah, if I'm gonna stay out here, we might as well go ahead and win.
All right, well, you just stay right here. We'll see what happens. Good luck.
You're right here. I'm not leaving.
Might as well go ahead and win.
Well, Jamie, there's a good chance that Michael Jordan will leave with both of his cars atop the point standings as we head for COTA. All right, here's Carson Hocevar.
Get with Bubba, shake and bake. Let him know. It'll come down to me and him if it works. Otherwise, I will take the front row and go to Ross and say shake and bake. Because look behind him, it's Daniel. He's not going to leave him, so he's got to stick with me. Copy that.
Somebody's watched Talladega Nights a few times.
Well, he's definitely politicking to try to put those cars behind him, but I got some good news and bad news. Good news, they might stick with him for a little bit. Bad news is
it's going to be for a little bit.
Yeah.
They call him the Hurricane. I mean, things happen right around wherever he is because he's a driver that will not hesitate to make the bold move like this one. Whoa.
Yeah, and there was another one too where he went up the racetrack to take the lead, kind of fake left, went right.
Well, he bounced off the side of that 2 car once, getting into turn 1. And the 6.
Yeah. Well, he's just willing.
And we've been 2 laps down. Don't forget that.
Cole Custer's view of ouch. What happened there? Now William Byron, there's Byron's 24 that started all that, checked and released at the infield care center.
That car has experienced just pretty much everything a day can throw at you in NASCAR. The window, by the way, we lost the window at one point.
Oh, I didn't know if you were talking about the 77 or the 45. 45's got no front fender. That one's been through a lot too, but not as much as Hocevar.
Well, let's talk tires as we get to the end of this because Hocevar and Reddick and Suarez had better tires than the cars they were racing against. But now that we've had this red flag and everything's kind of cooled off, will there be an advantage to those tires or not?
I think so. But the other 2 have the advantage of clean air.
Yeah, and I think that those sticker tires usually they're usually better when you don't put a cycle on them. So usually when the tires cycle, you kind of lose some of that advantage because now everybody are cooling down sitting here under this red flag. So I think that the tire situation, I don't know, Clint.
You're not wrong.
I think it evens out a little bit as we sit here longer and longer.
Well, in the last 10 races on drafting tracks, we have not had a repeat winner. There they are, going all the way back to the summer race at Daytona. And a lot of those have been really wild finishes. The last 7 drafting track races have had a pass for the win on the final lap. 6 out of 8 since the repave here in the final 2 laps. And of course, that big 3 wide record-setting closest 3-car finish in NASCAR history was right here.
Let's go back and see what happened to the 24. Major contact. The right front looked to me as if it was, maybe is the left front down right there?
It looks soft.
It does
right
look soft right there. The left rear doesn't look very good either.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell.
So William Byron, per Bob Pockris of Fox Sports, Byron told him, I just got loose. I did not have a tire going down. He did not feel.
What? You want to try Hocevar and see what shake and bake?
Yeah, see what shake and bake is.
How about you, Carson Hocevar, Boyer and the boys up in the booth? You got me?
Yeah, man, I got you.
Buddy, you've seen it all today. Holy cow, what a wild race. But take me back, we was listening. What is this shake and bake that we're talking about?
I don't really even know what I'm saying half the time, but I think ultimately, I don't have a lot of friends out here, so if I can have my spotter go down and say a TV slogan, maybe they'll actually push me, because that kind of that refers to.
You think that helps you a little bit in this scenario? I mean, it's every man for himself now. Not having any friends out there, you don't have to worry about that, right?
I think so. I think this track tends to reward that somewhat sometimes. So there's a lot of times you got to fill a hole real quick, and very rarely do you ever get 2. So it's tough to tango when the holes are so tight right there.
Well, you were my pick. Ran good. You were a smart race in the truck race. I think it's your turn. Let's go see what you got.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Carson Hocevar will line up 3rd when they come to the choose, behind the Toyotas of Wallace and Bell. So in the top 10, 4 Chevrolets, 2 Fords, and the rest are Toyotas. These are the only cars that don't have crash damage today.
Well, at Daytona, we only had 1 car all week with Josh Berry from the qualifying races all the way through the Sunday race that didn't hit anything. So we thought that the trend would continue as far as the aggression, just because of the style of race, and we knew this one would get wild, but it's not done getting wild yet, Mike.
No, 9 caution flags so far, and we're going to go to overtime. When they come around, they will complete the advertised distance of 260 laps, 400 miles. But we will go to green-white checker. There's a reminder of the rules. And we'll do this until we get a winner. Now the Toyotas are 1-2, but they do drive for different teams. As Chase Elliott makes a stop. If you are Christopher Bell, do you want to line up behind Bubba Wallace or alongside him?
Ooh, that's a
well.
That's
Look what it's going to
question.
do in your mirror. It'll put, looking at Reddick, that's the other Toyota right there. I mean, that's the scenario that I'm looking at. Is I think I want to go to the outside right behind him.
Yeah, the only thing that opens up is Hocevar being on the front row and being.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to. That's going to force your hand, isn't it, Kevin?
I think you're going to have to deal with Hocevar whether you put him behind you or beside you. So
you're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
So you think the Toyotas will line up side by side?
I almost think they have to.
As a defensive position. And then does the advantage go to whichever Toyota has Reddick behind him?
Well, I mean, look back. You're going to have 3 of them stacked up on the outside. Well, we'll see what Chastain does.
I'm concerned about Reddick tucked up right behind me with no right front fender. That's my big concern about Reddick. We saw his speed. We don't know if that's from tires. Heck, it could be from the right front fender missing. I don't know, but I've never seen that.
You need a pusher. I don't need somebody to be pushed, and that right front fender missing only helps that scenario. But I mean, look at the damage down low. You see where they fixed that at the splitter and the nose where that is down low. That's so important, and they've got all that sealed up and taken care of.
But right there where it says Camry, that's what you want. Is you want that flat face of that bumper to push with. That's the important part.
I'm with you, Mike. I don't have a choice on the right front fender, Kevin.
I mean, this could work out a million different ways, and I think that the other thing is you want to try to control it as quick as you can. So if you don't take the front row and you're not even because you didn't take the front row and you're the second place guy and you come to the white flag and the caution comes out and you lose the race because you're the pusher. So I don't know. I mean, I think you could see either scenario work out in your favor. It just depends on how it all forms up behind you and who can push the best.
All right, how much of Hocevar's chance to win this is going to depend on whether he has, say, Chastain or Suarez right behind him?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Like 100%. Okay.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
There's so many scenarios that are fixing to happen. Do not lose track of Suarez, Briscoe, Priest, all these guys. Remember, I think he was running 8 when he won that race coming to the white flag. I'm talking about Reddick when he won last week in Daytona 500.
Well, let's not forget that radio transaction that Hocevar had. He doesn't know how this is going to play out either. Nope. He wanted him to go to both sides of the scenario and shake and bake is how he put it.
I want to talk about this last lap though. This is important. I think this track varies a little bit between here and Daytona. I want to be in the lead when we come across that white flag, more so even here than Daytona, because this track's tighter. When somebody gets in trouble and a caution comes out and shoots back up the racetrack, that forces NASCAR's hand to have to throw that caution, making you the winner.
All right, if you haven't seen Talladega Nights, or you don't,
you're not for me.
I know everybody's seen Talladega Nights. All right, shake and bake is Ricky Bobby wins, Cal Naughton Jr. is second. That's shake and bake. And of course, at the end of the movie, it turns out differently, and everybody's happy. But shake and bake.
You do know he bought the house, right? I mean, you do know this.
Stop it. Hurricane Hocevar. Wherever he goes, it's going to be interesting.
Well, and he's going to be aggressive, and all he wants to do is win a race, and he's willing to sacrifice his car. He's willing to take a chance, and
yes,
that's
sir.
what makes him exciting.
Well, Clint, you said it earlier. The 2 most aggressive drivers in this race are currently 3rd and 5th, Hocevar and Chastain.
Make no mistake about it. This is overtime. I just told you I want to be leading at the white flag. I said this leading in after that last pit stop sequence. This 23 car, he's very good at this type of racing, and he is in the position that everybody wants to be in.
The other thing to think about, usually it takes a couple laps to get everything strung out, to get those big runs and moves and things happening. This is going to be a 2-lap shootout, and going to be the lanes are going to be pretty tight taking off here for that first lap. So it's going to take a while. It takes a little bit for this to get strung out to get those big runs.
2 great finishes already here this weekend. Saturday, Kyle Busch won the truck race, and Carson Hocevar was right behind him. And then in the O'Reilly series, Sheldon Creed got his first ever victory, and wasn't Ross Chastain a part of that finish too? I mean, oh, we got contenders, but who is going to be the winner? Will it be one of Coach Gibbs' Toyotas?
He's seen a bunch of them, hasn't he?
Will it be Spire? Will it be Trackhouse? Will it be RFK?
What
a lot of organizations in the top 10 right now. Let's have a look at those finishes. from yesterday. Pretty exciting. Rowdy Bush returns to the Truck Series to steal all the kids' candy. Here he goes in the number 7.
Well, he's done that quite a few times here. Put himself up front. Got himself, I believe, his 9th victory here at Atlanta.
And the first thing he said when he got out of that truck, thank you, Carson Hocevar.
And then there's Austin Hill going to the bottom and taking the lead. He is the best on these drafting tracks of the drivers in this series. But he gets a bump from Ross Chastain and Sheldon Creed. After 15 second place finishes, Creed picks up his first ever victory in the series.
That's 2 of your top 5 in contention to win both of those races with Chastain and Hocevar.
All right, it's time for the choose, and a lot of our questions will be answered right here. Bubba Wallace inside, Bell covers the top. Hocevar to the top, Reddick to the bottom. What is this, a concert? Look at the grandstand.
They're not cold. They haven't been sitting long in this race.
They're not leaving.
No, they know what's coming.
Yep. They were here last year. They were here last week. They're going to get their money's worth all the way to the checkered flag, and so are you at home.
Yeah, well, we know the history of this racetrack and the finishes that we've seen. Obviously, the players that we see at the front of this pack, Bubba Wallace has been up there all night. Christopher Bell showed up at the end of the race.
You asked me, and I didn't know how to answer you because I didn't know how they'd pick. I see 3 Toyotas lined up, freight train on the bottom. I like their chances.
Now on the top behind Bell are 3 Chevrolets in a row. Hocevar, Chastain, and Suarez. Not teammates, but they may link up. Toyota's on the front row.
You're going to have to get that 20 car wide if you're Christopher Bell. You know those guys are going to start the dive bomb.
Well, you got to have a lane, right? Like that's the big thing. Does the lane open up? When Hocevar goes out, does Chastain go with him? A lot of things that we're going to find out really quickly.
With Suarez, another Chevrolet behind.
3 Toyotas on the bottom. Here we go with Credit One Bank overtime.
There he goes. He went.
Bell gets turned into the fence.
That's Hocevar. He shot to the middle as soon as they crossed the start-finish line, Kevin. Did not wait. Tried to pounce on it. Wrecked Bell.
And we will re-rack and try again.
You knew he was going to be aggressive.
Yeah, and that's the balance, right? With Hocevar, right? What he wants to be aggressive, but when he gets in these situations, he can take it too far. And he was trying to make a hole right there that just wasn't there.
Quite a bit of damage on the left front. Let's go back and take a look at it here. Obviously, he's second row on outside, Hocevar. Pretty much door to door. Gets a big push from behind and tries to shoot the middle.
Yeah, I mean, there was nowhere to go right there.
Just don't think. I think that'd be a better angle of it right here. Watch when he gets the push from behind as Chastain gets to his bumper. Boom. Bell went to block on the outside a little bit. Bell did move up just a pinch, but it still wasn't a hole in the bottom.
Yeah.
See how Bell moved up? Bell separated quite a bit to try to block that to the outside.
All right, let's watch from Chastain.
I mean, as he went up there, I mean, it might have been like a 3/4 of a car width, but there was, you see it kind of open up right there. Gonna see what
that's not.
I see the hole that he was trying to go for, though.
It wasn't
That's
there.
what I'm going to say. I put blame on Hocevar initially, but there was more of a hole there. I think Bell tried to move up and block them a little bit. Let's listen to 20 audio.
He's getting a boost now. Watching him inside. What an idiot. Caution's out. There wasn't even a hole. He just drove at the left rear of you.
Well, you knew he was going to disagree.
I agree with you, Clint. There was a hole before he got there.
But it wasn't when he was there.
No. I'm not sticking
He's
up
going for it.
That's
Sure.
right.
And
you knew he was going to be aggressive. I told you he was going to be aggressive.
We knew he was going to be aggressive, and he's still there, by the way.
And it's not, I was going to say, it's not done. If you think that's going to slow it down, we're in it now. I bought the ticket. I'm going for it.
And the part that we talked about earlier, he doesn't apologize for it either, right? Like when we were talking to him on the radio, he's just like, hey, this is how I drive. This is what I do. You don't like it, I'm okay with that. And it's great for us to watch. Keeps it intriguing.
Yep.
And he is on the gas all the time and going forward. So it's definitely a balancing act as to what's too far, and sometimes things like that happen when you take a chance and it doesn't work out.
14 cars have crashed out of this race. This is one of the highest levels of attrition we've seen, I think, in the last couple of seasons.
And with 2 super speedway races in a row, going from Daytona, you got your qualifying races, and then you have this race, another super speedway race. It definitely, you can pile some cars up. If you wrecked one in the qualifying race and the Daytona 500, you're most likely on the list of wrecked cars today as well. So, I mean,
you bury yourself in points too, Kevin.
You're going to be buried in points and 3 cars into the hole.
Now, Christopher Bell has made repairs. He's still running. He's back out on track.
Here we go. There's the choose.
On the tail end of the lead lap. So we're going to choose again.
And that's going to put those Chevrolets on the outside.
Yeah.
Toyota's on the bottom.
Well, we did not see Tyler Reddick get going very good last time. And now you see 3 Chevrolets and 3 Toyotas again. But that 45 car did not get going with that 23 last time to be attached to his bumper.
But this is the matchup you want, because each of the drivers in those 3 positions, in both of those lanes, now know what to expect, because they've got a friendly in front, behind, and in the rocking chair, at least to start.
In theory, yeah. And it's like we said on the last restart. There's really going to be nowhere to go unless you try to force it like Hocevar did right there and make something and make a hole. Now he doesn't have to make a hole.
You just hope they get around to the white flag. I'm not convinced we can do that yet. He's hungry. He proved it. Can he back it up?
Well, he's hungry, but I promise you that guy right behind him is hungry too. Ross Chastain. We know that he'll.
Yes, sir.
We saw it last night in the O'Reilly race. He was willing to take a risk and not let out of the throttle. So a lot could happen. A lot of things could go a number of different ways right here.
All right, pace car is in, and here they come for the 2nd attempt at overtime. Bubba Wallace, Carson Hocevar, racing for the win in Atlanta. Back to green, 2 laps.
Good start. It's a dead drag race so far.
Yeah, that's a much better start from both lanes right there. They're attached, and you see Tyler Reddick on the bottom there, still attached. Got 3 of them on the bottom and only 2 up top.
Bubba moves up.
Power move there.
Hocevar goes to low.
3 wide. Hocevar middle.
That did not work in Bubba Wallace's favor.
Reddick on the bottom for the lead. Hocevar steams around the outside. They touch twice. White flag.
They're not going to go with him.
Here comes Chastain. Toyota, Chevy. Chevy.
You see Briscoe be able to back up right there off the exit of turn 2.
Tyler Reddick trying for 2 in a row. Briscoe trying to redeem a tough day in Daytona. They're going to come off turn 4 for the final time. Chastain to the bottom. Briscoe to cover. Tyler Reddick, 2 in a row.
Can you believe that car just won?
These guys are
right front fender.
Yesterday.
Holy cow.
Great job.
Tyler Reddick just became the 6th driver in NASCAR history to win the first 2 races of the season, and the first to do it since Matt Kenseth in 2009. All 10 of his Cup wins have come at different tracks.
And that all came. Bubba Wallace had the decision to make. He tried to block up high. Hocevar opened the door for him to shoot the middle, and that opened the door wide open for Reddick to drive off into the sunset. Jamie, who do you got?
Well, we're getting hugs all around. I told you I was going to hang here for 5 minutes. What do you have to say about 2311?
I mean, really, I can't say anything. Tyler did an unbelievable job. I mean, both teams did an unbelievable job. And look, I wanted one of them to win. You know, I feel bad for Bubba, obviously, because he had an unbelievable day, but Tyler drove his ass off. And I'm very happy for Tyler. I'm very happy for 2311.
MJ, I know you watched this sport your whole life, but how fun is it to be here and be winning at this level in NASCAR?
I mean, you know, the guys worked hard all summer, you know, and I know we had our little ordeal, but they never gave up. They kept working hard, and this is the fruit of their labor. You know, they put forth the effort, and, you know, for us to come out and win the first 2 races says a lot about our whole team.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tyler Reddick doubles up. That's incredible. Briscoe second for Toyota. Then 3 Chevys, Chastain, Hocevar, and Suarez. And Van Gisbergen in 4 Chevrolets. Zane Smith is the first Ford to finish in 7th.
I like that.
I've never seen this before.
All right, now shift it back to first. Go forward.
That is the first reverse burnout I've ever seen.
Now, Reddick was involved in the big pileup at lap 160 with 100 laps to go, but they made enough repairs, Billy Scott and crew, to get that thing up in at least a position to push somebody to the win, and then he goes and grabs it.
I'm still blown away by how fast that car is with no right front fender on it, Clint.
Reddick will leave here as the point leader, with Bubba Wallace second in the standings. What a start to the season for 2311.
Make it to Tyler! Let's go!
It's still surreal for me to sit there and see this man down here at a NASCAR and celebrating his team's winning of a NASCAR race. It really is.
Here's Regan Smith.
Well, for the Tyler Reddick going to grab the checkered flag for the second week in a row. We see Tyler taking a look at the right front of his race car. There's no fender there, Tyler. How did you find a way with this beat-up race car to go back-to-back 2 weeks in a row?
I mean, that's crazy, ain't it? How about that? EchoPark Speedway. I mean, this place, over the years, man, you know, it just puts on some amazing racing, and handling matters here, but and I don't know, I guess determination always handling, but thank you everybody for coming out. I mean, it's cold. Just cheers to everyone here. Y'all motivate us to pull off some crazy stuff like that.
You restarted in third on the final restart and looked like maybe you were going to be content to push your teammate Bubba Wallace to the win there. He moves to the top side when it opened up. Did you think this car was going to have enough with the damage to keep it up there?
Man, I really didn't know. You know, we were back there in 30th after we got collected with the 11, and it was definitely really loose, and we were able to make a little bit of adjustment on it with the error and whatnot, and I don't know, I mean, they just kept stacking up in the middle and top lanes, and I just found a way to kind of get back in the top 5, and yeah, you know, I tried to stay committed to somebody, and I don't know, I didn't really have a choice. I had to find out if it was going to go out clean air like that.
Congratulations, Tyler Reddick wins at EchoPark Speedway.
Well, for Bubba Wallace, it was a great points day. led 46 laps. I know you wanted the win. Team gets the win, but how do you process this finish, which was still very good?
Yeah, I'm just pumped that Toyota still got to victory lane. I need to go back and see. I didn't think I moved up that much to allow, to put myself up top of 3. So unfortunate, but man, what a race car we had today. Who I learned a lot from was Raja yesterday. He had a bad fast car, and he finished second at first stage and won the second stage just like me. And I was like, this car is so fast. Don't do anything to jeopardize a good finish. And I hate that we didn't get the win, but all in all, appreciate Xfinity. Man, what could have been. Go on to Coda. Pray for me there. We'll have some fun.
Thanks, Bubba. Jamie?
Well, Carson Hocevar, Mike Joy called you Hurricane Hocevar. I call you Mr. Excitement. So close to your first career win there, Carson. Take me through that last lap and what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I joked with Gav. He walked up. For our luck last year, I was like, well, if we just raced to like the Busch Series length races, like stage 2 basically, we'd be really good. And then it kind of goes to hell in a handbasket. But now I guess we're really, really good this year at just getting to the white flag leading. I went over to Briscoe and I just kind of laughed. I thought it was a great spot, being on top and everything. And then I look in my mirror and I'm like, all right, perfect. He's going to come to me. And they start going left. And I was confused for a second. And then I looked to my left and I realized there was another Toyota. I was like, oh, he's not going to push me. So, just happy with the Spectrum car. Our car is really fast to go from 2 laps down to get stage points and then finish 4th. It's good points for us. I was taking every run. I don't know. I'm sure I owe people apologies. But I think we're all going for spaces and runs and everything. And, luckily, all 4 tires were straight. My toe was knocked out, but it still was pretty fast and, able to finish 4th there. So pretty excited for our start of the year. Now I'm going to go mess up a little bit on the road course, not be a total front contender, and then hopefully get back going, this up front type of deal at Phoenix.
Well done. Mike?
12 cars finished within 1 second of the winner. That's Tyler Reddick's son, Bo. Congratulates him.
Well, let's take a look at this winning combination. You see Bubba Wallace, he talked about the decision that he had going down the back chute off of turn 2. He's got a decision to make. Big run coming on the outside, pulls up to block, open the door up too much for Hocevar to shoot that middle. But look how, see his help. Chastain had to lift. Now it's that 2-horse battle on the outside. Now all Briscoe has to do is choose the right manufacturer, pushes him right off into the sunset. It's that simple.
That's exactly what it came down to right there, was just the choice. As you see,
that should have been a wreck right there.
Hocevar go up and block the 23, winds up getting himself back down in a hole right there in 5th. But ultimately, Chase Briscoe's decision to push the 45 car was the only decision that he made, and there's nothing else that materializes right here as the cars are just nose to tail, get tight going in the corner, get spaced out, and Tyler Reddick drives off into the sunset with no right front fender.
Big move there by Chastain to come up for 3rd, and a nice run for Van Gisbergen on a super speedway.
Was, and next week he's chomping at the bit.
He should be fine next week. I would say he'll do okay.
You think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think he'll be all right.
I'm looking forward to next week. You just heard a lot of these drivers concerned about next week. Hocevar, he's already wrote himself off. Don't count on that guy.
When I go back right there, I see what Bubba is talking about on that block. He went too high, and he left that middle lane open, left himself exposed right there to let Hocevar get to his left rear. Ultimately, he needed to go up 1 lane, but I truly think if he only goes up 1 lane, Hocevar just tries to go around the outside.
100%.
He's not waiting on him, and then he's stuck in the middle. And you heard Hocevar say it there in his interview. He's like, I was taking every run. I'm sure there's a lot of people that I need to apologize to, but in the end, Tyler Reddick wins.
Tyler Reddick starts the season off with back-to-back wins. More from Atlanta after this.